Grim bloke. Yeah. And then. Yeah.
Welcome back, ballers.
Let me tell you about this one time. I went through a porthole and snuck into the North Pole and got picked up in a Hyperborean DeLorean. They said they knew I was a Webster Merriam historian, master the numerical Gregorian, the hysterical mystic, no more than a Pythagoreans. Conspiracy theory Ethereum in the etheric fear realm. I thought they were gonna take me to the crematorium in their Hyperborean DeLorean. Tested me on my Sumerian, Shakespearean. Knew I was a numerical vegetarian Aquarian. That I knew about the Tartarians, barbarians, Mars radium, aliens. Salt of the earth, solution Selenian. Spent the night in a Hyperborean chamber. I looked around and thought, bruv, who hired the painter? Hyperborean memoriam, auditorium, all cause I got picked up in the Hyperborean DeLorean. Introducing
All love.
Jack Ruff. Yeah. Invisible diamond minerals, crystalline and swimming pools, interdimensional realms of scrapping Catherine, Bahamas, Azores, Atlantis
Mic
shores,
check.
mountains, temples, marble floors.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Treasure and cities lost.
Thumbs up.
Bruv, in it. Oh, sphinxes, pyramids and minotaurs, fruit grown in grove luxuriant. In it. Inhabitants intelligent, closest seen to perfection. The whole experience, heaven to them, polar aurora, horizon beyond them. Flattened sky, lake of fire, core and flora, but bright comets, tornadoes, turbulence, not prohibition, more. Not forbidden, thought expansive, places massive. In it, yeah, bruv. In it, oh. Just hanging around.
Thank you, Coffee.
Yeah. Telling stories in the Hyperborean DeLorean. Grim bloke. Jack bruv. In it. Just hanging out around. Oh, Jack bruv. 88892. If you didn't know, now you're forever exploring it interdimensional. Historian, oratorium. Just hanging around telling stories in the Hyperborean DeLorean.
Best night of the week.
Just hanging around. Jack bruv. Grim bloke. 8892. If you didn't know, forever exploring the interdimensional primordial. Historian, moratorium. Just hanging around telling stories in the Hyperborean DeLorean.
Welcome back, ballers, to the best night of the week. Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and Cody. Episode 38 now. Technically 39, we know that. But congrats to the winners with the Super Bowl. What an exciting game that was. Not. Welcome back, everybody. I was way more looking forward to this particular stream, more so than the Super Bowl. I'm sure most of you guys would agree with me on that one. But welcome back, everybody. It's great to see everybody in the chat. As always, please make sure to add all of your questions and observations in the chat as we all join forces in another wonderful round table. First and foremost, Rambo, Cody, can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you.
I can hear you loud and clear.
As well.
Awesome. I can hear you too, Cody. Let's jump right into it. My name is AJ. I go by Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. You guys can find all of my work on Instagram and on YouTube. You guys can also email me at wordplaybook. That is my first book that I wrote 6 years ago now. I've written another 10 since then. They are available for purchase on my Patreon page. However, I'm more than happy to send you guys any copies of these via email. If you just send me an email at wordplaybook, 3 O's in book, @gmail.com. I also have my Patreon page for those that are interested in sports leans and notes and things like that before game time. I'll be the first to admit, it was not the best night for my Patreon. I'm going to humbly say that. We hit on a handful of things, but that Super Bowl was ridiculous, and we're gonna dive into some of those things that we talked about just last week for free on the live stream. So, but before we do that, Cody, if you wouldn't mind, please doing a quick introduction of yourself for anybody who may or may not be familiar with your work. I appreciate you also doing this live stream on your channel as well tonight.
Yeah, thank you, AJ, for setting this up, and thank you, Rambo, for being here as always to share your great info. And appreciate you both. And then to everyone in the chat, thank you always for tuning in and watching us and supporting us. We appreciate you all. If you guys want to find me, as AJ mentioned, I'm streaming it tonight on my channel on Decoding with Cody. I got a bit of extra space this month, so that's why I don't always stream it on the channel. But tonight we're on my channel as well, Decoding with Cody. Also, don't forget to go over, if you're watching on mine, we're also streaming on AJ's channel. Make sure you go over to both videos and hit the like and help get the info out there. If you guys want to support me, otherwise it's buymeacoffee.com/decoding with Cody. And as always, I look forward to the stream tonight.
We appreciate you, Codes, and everything that you do for the community. Seriously, especially with you being across the pond and getting up in the wee hours of the night or the morning, whatever you want to call it on your end. It means a lot, Cody. Thank you so much for joining as always.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Rambo, what's up,
Yes,
brother?
I'll agree. Yeah, thanks again for having us. This is your show, your event that you've put together. You've allowed us
it's our show. This is our show. But I appreciate it, Rambo, but humbly speaking, this would be nothing without you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I appreciate Cody. Even before this had started, many members of my audience had been asking me if I could collaborate with Cody, because he was always very popular with my audience as well. So glad to, I never anticipated being able to collaborate every single week. But again, it's thanks to you, AJ. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, Cody. And also appreciate your decodes as well, not just putting this together. And where I can be found is patreon.com/thetruthcodes. There's only one tier. It's $5 a month and access to the Codebreaker community Discord server. And I'm also on Instagram.com/thetruthcodes.
We appreciate you, Rambo. Yeah. Well, one thing you didn't mention this week, but I always got to re-emphasize this, is his Discord is amazing. The community that he's built over there is absolutely fantastic. And thank you, MVP, for the shout out. Appreciate that. Yeah, of course. Once again, you guys just need to send me an email. I'll send you my books. But you guys, for Rambo, this is $5 a month. Like he said, it's one tier. It is. I've been telling Rambo for years now, he needs to up his price. Okay. So maybe one day that happens, but the fact that he still won't do it, he does this for the community, and I can always attest to that. absolutely unbelievable work. So not only do you get all of Rambo's stuff, and he's going to give us another treat tonight with an intro of some of the other things that he's already called when it came to this past Super Bowl. But for $5 a month, you guys, come on, it's the best deal in town. I will always say that. So thank you again, Rambo. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome, and thank you for promoting my work.
Always will. Always will. So let's dive into it. You know, honestly, these are going to be some slides that the everyday followers, the every week followers are familiar with, but we need to rehash a couple of things, you guys. We talked a lot about the 28s, the submarine Seahawk that KODI has touched on, the movie 28 Years Later that Rambo extended upon, you know, some of the findings that I had about the movie The Skulls, which equals 28, as we know that the Super Bowl was held on 2/8, right? All of those things. We also touched on how the NFL Instagram page, you know, released some photos of the Seattle Seahawks getting off of their plane with the fat 322 right there. With Sam Darnold, who did not win MVP, but guess who did? Kenneth Walker, right? We talked a lot about Kenneth Walker last week, but I just wanted to rehash once again a couple of images. This is from Rambo's post, his video, extending upon what I pointed out about Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, that whole fight that happened right before Anthony Joshua was in his own car crash. And there's a lot to it, you guys, but we're going to rehash everything that we talked about right before the Super Bowl. And sure enough, Kenneth Walker did not even score a touchdown, did he? But he won the Super Bowl MVP. Why does that matter? Well, Paul Walker played Caleb Mandrake, and now you got Mandrake, etc. Mandrake he was tossed around like a rag doll, in my opinion. He looked like a 12-year-old playing out there on Sunday. But for another 28, look at this, you guys. Excuse me. Look at this. Kenneth Walker becomes the first running back. Isn't that funny? He's a running back. His name's a Walker, but, you know, you got to walk before you can run. But, of course, 28 years since a running back has won the Super Bowl MVP. What did we talk about all last week? Right? All the 28s, 28 years later, Skull and Bones, 2/8. The Skulls equals 28. Sure enough, Kenneth Walker wins the Super Bowl MVP 28 years later, since the last time a running back has won the Super Bowl MVP. But as a final rehash, Paul Walker played Caleb Mandrake. Well, Mandrake and Skull and Bones equals 149, front and back. And the Super Bowl was held on 2/8, exactly 149 days after Paul Walker's birthday. Flip it the other way, and it's also 149 days before George Walker Bush's birthday. And then in closing, you guys, what did I also say? I said it very briefly, but I said that the love themes continue, and they will going into next year's Super Bowl, which is going to be on Valentine's Day. And sure enough, we had one interception in the game by Julian Love. So that's what I have to kick things off tonight. Thank you guys. Appreciate everything. Yeah, the Mr. S says the Drake curse continues. I think he put $1 million or something on the Patriots. Of course he did. I will say this though, Rambo. I was just waiting to see Drake pop his head up during that halftime show, which didn't happen. But I mean, rightfully so. Like, you got to keep an eye out for that, and the payout on that was crazy. But no, instead they put out Lady Gaga. You know?
Yeah, Bad Bunny did mention that there was Drake was a popular pick, and Bad Bunny himself, before the Super Bowl, had said that he actually invited Drake. And then the official story is that Drake, you know, he's friends with Bad Bunny, and he said he didn't want to distract, because if Drake was there, everyone's thinking of Kendrick Lamar, and you've got to reply to Kendrick. And he felt that would be a distraction, which to me, that sounds realistic, because that would have been a distraction. That really would have become Drake's halftime show, and Drake and the Kendrick beef would have. So yeah, that does sound like a reasonable explanation. Also, you have to figure that Drake is going to get his halftime show. You figure within the next 3 years or so, all to himself, So you don't want to take away from Bad Bunny's halftime show. A year, 2 or 3 later, you get your own halftime show after you just, that wouldn't be fair. But yeah, they did mention it. Bad Bunny did mention, yes, I invited Drake. And that was what people were expecting. And that didn't happen, but still, that Drake was still there in the Super Bowl in the form of the quarterback. But before the season started, I did think Drake would be the halftime performer. And that's because of, and that's, I talk about that in my latest decode. I had talked about has to do with history. Sir Francis Drake of Britain, he was literally a slave trader and a pirate, but he also, because of his skill at fighting and sailing, he was employed in the British Navy, and he helped defeat the Spanish Armada, and he sailed all over the world. He even sailed to the Bay Area, what is now the San Francisco Bay Area, and have Drake's Bay named after Sir Francis Drake. So that, on top of that, I said Drake has to be there. I never thought, with the New England Patriots having won 4 games the previous year, and Drake May is essentially a rookie. Granted, it's not his rookie year, but he didn't play his rookie year. This is his first year really playing as a starting quarterback. So he's sort of like a rookie. Who would think that he'd be in the Super Bowl? But the Drake was there, and we saw the Drake. But I did make a prediction. If you can share the screen.
The last thing I was going to say is Drake May was clearly playing like a rookie out there. Like it was bad. And like I said, next year's Super Bowl is on Valentine's Day. So who knows? Maybe next year is Drake's time, certified lover boy, to come back on stage and all that kind of stuff. So something to think about. But yeah, Rambo, you got a big treat for us tonight, and a rehash of things that you've already put out in your community that hit on Sunday.
I did a decode, I got 2 weeks ago, and was on the theme of MVP was on top of it. MVP, thanks. So MVP took note because one of my patrons actually did ask me. I was actually asking MVP, and I appreciate MVP. He's very active in the comments. He talks to the other commenters, and they asked MVP if they could give him a pick for who might score a touchdown, and I appreciate it. And I said who I thought might score a touchdown, and to put things in perspective, the person who I thought would score a touchdown has only scored 6 touchdowns all season, and in this game, only 2 offensive players scored touchdowns, and he's a running back. He's a. Oh yeah, someone's talking about the 42. I figured okay, that's another thing. Thanks. So I appreciate it. So YouTuber 6669. Okay, this is in my video, but I did this in the comments section. Somebody asked what the score would be, and my answer was there'll either be a 17 or a 42, or both. And the reason is it had to do with sacred feminine. There's been a lot of sacred feminine symbolism, and 17 is the gematria value of dove, of womb, fetus. 17. The magazine for young females in the United States, now everything's online, obviously, is named 17, which is unusual because what age do you celebrate for teenage girls? It's 16. You have your sweet 16. In the I don't know if it's all over the Spanish-speaking world, or it's just in some of them, but quinceañera, they celebrate 15. So there's different cultures have the celebrations of teenage girls as they start to get older. Quinceañera, which is for 15, sweet 16 in the United States. So why is that magazine titled 17 for young girls? It's because of gematria. It's a sacred feminine number, but the primary phrase that has the value of 17, which is pertinent to the sacred feminine, is dove. The dove is the sacred feminine. originating in Babylon, where the dove symbolized the female of the Babylonian trinity, Semiramis, with the dove. And dove in Latin is Columba, which is where you get Columbia. The District of Columbia is named after the dove. And because of all the sacred, and when was Renee Good shot? January 7th, 1/7. It comes up over and over again. What's her birthday? 4/2. The 17 and the 42 were in Renee Good's assassination. It's a sacred feminine. And so 42. So the word bitch is also 42. And that word came up. It's reference to a female dog, which has to do with Sirius, the dog star. Sirius is a female dog. It's the star of Isis. So the dog star in Sirius is a female. It literally is a bitch. They have a recording when the officer shot Renee Good. Afterwards, he said, effing bitch. But remember, Renee Good had a dog in the back seat. When he said effing bitch, it could have referred to the dog as well. But bitch is 42. And that was in the news with Renee Good. So I'm glad they realized that, because I had even forgotten that I predicted. I said, they had asked, what score will they be? I said, expect a 17 or a 42. And yes, the total was 42. But I'll go to my video here for the rest of it. Well, the MVP of the Super Bowl, at which Tom Brady did the coin toss representing Super Bowl MVPs, was Hines Ward. Hines Ward's birthday is March 8th, 38, or 8th March, 8-3. The reflection of Tom Brady's birthday, August 3rd, 8-3, or 3rd August, 38. New England Patriots quarterback Drake May was born August 30th, 8/30, which is 8-3 in numerology, or 30th August 308, which is 38. In Gematria's two base ciphers, simple and Pythagorean, Drake May equals 83 and 38, respectively. So I guess that means Drake May, Super Bowl MVP. Wait, hold on. In the Pythagorean cipher, Sam Darnold has a value of 38, the same cipher in which Drake May equals 38. From Sam Darnold's June 5th birthday to Super Bowl LX is 8 months, 3 days, for another 8-3. In the Francis Bacon Elizabethan simple cipher and Elizabethan reduction cipher, Bill Gates has values of 83 and 38, respectively. Maybe number 38 will score at least one touchdown. That would be Ramondre Stevenson, running back of the New England Patriots, who shares the running back duties. So he's not a feature back. 3-8, 8-3.
Another coordinator, Kubiak, takes this Raiders job as his recruit. May stepping up, throwing it out. Stevenson takes it off his shoe tops and scores a touchdown.
Yeah, so that was that prediction.
Rambo, he also has that 223 birthday. Skull and crossbones.
Oh, yeah,
223,
okay, yeah.
right? That so it just adds to the other skull and bones stuff too. But yeah, amazing work.
Yes, so remember I talked about Sir Francis Drake, who defeated the Spanish Armada for 1588 on August 8th, 88, and how he traveled across the world, and he traveled to what is now Northern California, the Bay Area, and they have Drake's Bay, which is 30 miles north of where the Super Bowl was. So he was a pirate. He was a literal pirate. He used to just rob the Spanish were a big target for him, but he used to plunder also all sorts of entities. So he was an actual pirate. He was a thug. He was a thief, Sir Francis Drake. But he was so skilled. Sometimes you're fighting a war. You need someone who's skilled at fighting and doing that sort of thing. So that's why he was employed by Queen Elizabeth I. Well, he wasn't the commander. He was a vice admiral. So he wasn't an admiral. But because of his skill, his fighting skill, and his sailing skill, he was employed by the British Navy. But he was a pirate. So Drake is actually related to the pirate. And I can bring up my video that this is an intro to the video, which will be released tomorrow morning. It's already finished, but there'll be this is the intro to my upcoming video on Patreon. In early 1588, Drake moved his flag from Elizabeth Bonaventure to Revenge, which was considered to be the best by far of the new ships. On 8th August 1588, the Battle of Gravelines was concluded with a decisive victory over the Spanish fleet. The Revenge would eventually be captured by the Spanish in 1591 and sunk shortly afterwards. The Revenge, a comparatively small vessel, weighed 471 tons. The New England Patriots, led by quarterback Drake, came into Super Bowl 60 with exactly 471 all-time losses. That was against the Seattle Seahawks, a team that the New England Patriots had defeated 11 years prior in Super Bowl 49. The Seattle Seahawks would exact revenge.
Wow, Rambo, I had to also add, I saw very quickly in the beginning of the video something about, I might sound silly here, but first of all, Maggie says, nice, Rambo, well done from Open Up. Yeah, you guys, the full video will come out tomorrow, like Rambo said.
Yeah, it's finished. I'm just going to upload it tomorrow. Yep.
I saw a name, John Hawkins.
Yes, he was the admiral. Yeah, he was one of the.
So just kind of adds to the Seahawks.
Oh, Hawk. Okay, yeah, okay, that's a good
right.
one.
Like John Hawkins. Yeah, that's all I wanted to.
No, that's a good. I didn't think about that. Okay, good one. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, great work as always, Rambo. Seriously.
Yeah. So yeah, Drake's Bay, named after Sir Francis Drake, is 30 miles north of the site of the Super Bowl.
And wasn't there a player in the Super Bowl named Hawkins as well?
Not that I knew of, but then again,
yeah, there was.
Oh, there was. Okay.
There was a. I'm pretty sure there was somebody else had written that to me. I think he was on the. I don't know. I have to look because I don't remember which team he was on. I think it was on the Patriots, but I think that just. Makes it even more
oh my
obvious.
God, his name is Jonathan Hankins. I mean, that's what I'm seeing right now.
Oh no,
Veteran
it's Jake.
Defensive tackle.
It's Jalen Hawkins. He's a Panamanian. He's from Panama even too.
Huh.
Number 21.
Let me get your screen up here, Cody. Yeah.
Yeah, so to go with the Drake thing, and just remember, a lot of people watching my channel remember I covered the whole another part of the angle of the Francis Drake thing myself. One of my videos was about that. I had mentioned, with the gold theme, Drake was kind of the Francis Drake thing was kind of a connection with, the gold, because he was always plundering for the gold and the gold rush connection. And he had actually named, when he found that area north of, let me see if I can find my slide. Actually, I know I got a slide on this. He was actually, let me see if I can find the slide. Yeah, so let's see. He called it New Albion when he discovered it. And that can kind of translate. It doesn't translate directly to New England, but it translates to New Britain. So it's kind of interesting that when he landed there just north of San Francisco, that Francis Drake, he named that the New Albion, which again it's not New England necessarily technically, but it reminds you of that same theme. So that's kind of what I brought up. And then I mentioned how Bad Bunny, also being from San Juan or being from Puerto Rico, Francis Drake obviously had a huge history with Puerto Rico area as well, considering that he had a battle there. And actually, I think he lost. He lost to the Spanish. So actually, that was kind of another clue that Francis Drake would lose with the whole Spanish Super Bowl, considering the whole halftime show was in Spanish. So, and then I guess that was the Battle of San Juan or something the Battle of San Juan. So I think that was a clue that Drake would lose, considering that Drake lost to the Spanish. And then of course, that all tied in with the video game Uncharted, which features a brother. So it features Nathan Drake is the main character, but the other brother in the movie is Sam Drake. Of course, that's the two first names of the quarterbacks who were in the Super Bowl. Again, I covered this on my channel a couple of weeks ago, but it really was super interesting that all this kind of did focus around that history lesson, as I mentioned. I had even mentioned how Drake May, it's kind of connected to Jupiter and the Wheel of Fortune, and the Gold Rush theme, because that 99 came up a lot with Jupiter, Fortune, Gold Rush. And then I had mentioned how the dragon hoards the gold, and Drake means dragon. And Drake and May is a last name for an Irish last name. So there was a huge gold, hoarding a gold thing here. And maybe it's a bit interesting that Drake lost, considering that the dragon is no longer hoarding the gold. Maybe. So yeah, I think there's some interesting. And don't forget the Trump family, which kind of ties into this. I don't know where I have that slide at, but the Trump family had discovered or had made their wealth in the area of Seattle. So Trump's grandfather, Frederick Trump, he made his fortune in the Klondike Gold Rush, which was after leaving Seattle. Actually, I don't know if you guys saw this, but this actually ties into our Back to the Future stuff. Trump's grandfather actually founded the dairy restaurant. Well, at first it was called the Poodle Dog, but he founded the dairy restaurant in Seattle, Washington, on 208 Washington Street. And eventually that street would become nicknamed The Line. And that's super crazy because the whole Super Bowl was connected to Clara Clayton, who was told that San Francisco is the end of the line. And not only that, it was 208, so that's the Super Bowl date. And then, but the line is the Last Train to Fortune, which was one of the last movies that Claire, the actress who portrayed Clara Clayton, that was one of the last movies she was in, Last Train to Fortune. And notice it has the horse. She was supposed to, in the movie, originally die on the horse, but she was saved by Doc Brown. But then she ends up, then they end up running a train off of the bridge instead. And then what's the chances that the movie ends up being called Last Train to Fortune? It features a horse. And then it came out years after the original Back to the Future 3. And just notice that Klondike Gold Rush, which is what Fred Trump made his fortune in, equals Last Train to. So this was a huge riddle that really just brings back how crazy this matrix is tied, because this all ties into, it's all about the Trump family and the fortune that they made in Washington. I believe that's why Washington won. And that's why I believe this year is going to have a lot of money themes going forward. And fortune, fortune is not just about physical money as well. It can be about luck and fortune in different ways. But that's just something I wanted to reiterate since we were on this topic. And just remember how Rambo talked about the locomotive 131 and how it was in that theme, or in that movie. That's what went off the rails. And remember, The Last Train to Fortune, her other movie premiered 13 weeks and 1 day before the Super Bowl. And that was all connected to Jules Verne, and Jules Verne equals 131. In the movie, they named their kids Jules and Verne. But yeah, and then I talked about how we're going into the horse year, and the snake in the astrology bites the horse, doesn't bite the horse. The snake scares the horse, and in turn, the horse becomes after the snake in the astrology. So this is the same thing that happened in the movie. Like this movie was clearly pointing to this Super Bowl in so many ways, not just Clara Clayton, but the fact that she's supposed to die going off the bridge on a horse and buggy. And the reason in the movie that has happened is because the horses were scared by the snake, which is the exact same theme from the Chinese zodiac, which means that the movie was literally pointing to a period between the year of the horse and the snake. That was literally what that was pointing to. And of course, that's the period we're in. And remember, Drake May is a horse. So he went off the rails, like originally Clara Clayton was supposed to go off the bridge with the horses. And so, yeah, I think this is like a part I really wanted to make sure I shared on this one, because how many times did we talk about Back to the Future, Clara Clayton? How much did Rambo talk about the locomotive 131? How many times have I talked about the horse? And the more I've realized looking into this is that this horse years pretty much scripted this whole Super Bowl, because again, as I mentioned, the last teams that played in the horse years was the 4 teams that were left in this final. So the horse years, and I think this is probably going to be every year with the Super Bowl, the Chinese zodiac years are going to be super connected with the events that are going on. And this case is no different, which is also why the Three Doors Down singer died one day before the Super Bowl, because I found out yesterday that the Three Doors Down singer, which I grew up listening to, so that was a big death for me. That really got me. That was all connected to Superman, which I'm not going to get into now, but he actually was born in the year of the horse in 1978, and he died on the anniversary of the day the horse year started, the year he was born.
Wow.
February 7th, 1978 was the start of the year of the horse. So he would die on February 7th, 2026 on the anniversary of that, which
Hey,
means he died 233 days before his birthday, and which means the horse year was let me pull this up because this is crazy. So the horse year was 233 days before he was born in 1978, and he died 233 days before his birthday, which again, because he died on the same day the horse year started. So look at the gematria of horse, and look at his name, 233, in one of the cap ciphers, and not only that, if you type in his band name, or not, sorry, the song that they're known for, Kryptonite. If I can spell it right. Or maybe it was another cipher. Because I know this is what oh yeah, it's the other cipher. It's Kryptonite equals 233. That's what they're known for. So again, that just was something I really wanted to bring up, and just how important the horse year is. Yeah, it is. His band name equals 233. His song he's known for, his name equals 233, and horse. So again, guys, this year the horse, the more the more I look into it, the more crazy it seems to be. You know, Drake May losing and being a horse also. And remember, the Patriots won the Super Bowl 10 days before the year the horse started, back in the year 2002. And that was the year Drake May was born. So, yeah, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, no, all I was going to say to add on to the horse things is I'm sure you saw what Brad Arnold's middle name is, right?
Yes. Yep. That Kirk, his middle name is Kirk.
It's Kirk, like Charlie Horse, a Charlie horse, right? We talked about this many months ago, the whole Charlie horse thing, you know.
Well,
so with everything you were just touching on with Brad Arnold connected to the horse, his middle name is Kirk. You know, he dies the day before the Super Bowl, and all the other horse connections. So I just want to say Charlie Horse, there's an alignment there. And I also just wanted to shout out BPM, brought up a great point with what you opened your presentation on about Jalen Hawkins. Well, you know, it was unfortunate to see my Arizona Wildcats no longer be undefeated. But the day after the Super Bowl, you had the Jayhawks knock off Arizona right after the Super Bowl. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
I mean, BPM's a brilliant guy. He's one of the best commenters on my Patreon. I appreciate him.
Yeah, appreciate you, BP.
And you know, that's crazy he mentioned that, because I had tied this into the CEO of Ripple, Brad Kent Garlinghouse. So you guys might think I'm crazy, but the CEO of Ripple is so tied to this. I mean, just look up the picture with Brad Garlinghouse standing in front of a ship with Donald Trump. I mean, Brad Garlinghouse is clearly an important figure, and his middle name is Kent. So Brad Garlinghouse's birthday was one day before the Kryptonite singer died. Well, not only is Brad Garlinghouse's birthday, or right day before that, and his middle name is Kent, Brad Garlinghouse was born in Kansas. Where does Superman go? Kansas. And he just took a picture with with Paul Pierce wearing a Kansas Jayhawks. I'll have to pull it up in a little bit so you guys can see. I'll bring it up later. But there's a picture. He just took a picture. One of his last expos was him with Paul Pierce, who played for the Kansas Jayhawks. And they were both wearing Kansas Jayhawks hoodies. And then, of course, you got the Seahawks. And then Paul Pierce was from Boston. He played in Boston, which is the New England connection. But anyway, on the front of the Kryptonite cover is a ripple. So the album cover on the Wikipedia page for the Kryptonite album, the Three Doors Down, it looks like a ripple. So this whole thing was connected to Brad Garlinghouse, who has the Superman connection. And Brad Garlinghouse is a crypto knight. He's currently fighting for crypto regulation in the government. He's like leading the charge, fighting for getting crypto regulation to get the markets regulated. And he's often depicted as a knight or a Knights Templar in the riddles for Ripple XRP. So he is literally a knight. And Knights Templar equals 173. Brad Arnold died at exactly 17300 days old, which is the gematria of Superman curse. Yes, look it up. There's a Superman curse, which equals 173, which is how old Brad Arnold died at. And Christopher Reeve was cursed as Superman by a horse. He fell off a horse. So this is all crazy, folks, like the Superman theme with the horse. And if you look at Brad Arnold's Instagram page, his wife was a horse rider, and he has horses all over. He also has dogs all over his Instagram. But anyways, I'm going to stop there for now. But I'm just saying, like, this whole thing with Kryptonite and the horse and the Superman theme, I'm probably going to have to do a standalone video on that in general, because me and Derek found all this yesterday, and this is the first time I've shared it. But it's really crazy that Christopher Reeve actually, and another thing, to go with the Kirk stuff, one of the first guys listed on the Superman curse page on Wikipedia, if you look it up, is Kirk Allen. There's a Superman guy who played Kirk, a guy named Kirk Allen played Superman, and he's listed on the curse. If you just look at all the people who are listed, he's one of the people on there. And of course, Brad Arnold's middle name was Kirk.
I also thought it was interesting that, Brad Arnold dies right before Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl, so you kind of got that Arnold alignment there too. But
right, yeah, exactly. That was a big clue why I kind of changed my mind a bit at last moment. I was more on the Patriots, but and I'm not going to say I didn't do a video where I said I was changing my mind, but the day it happened, I didn't do a video, but somebody had brought that to my attention, and I was like, man, I think we better watch Sam Darnold now with this guy dying. So.
Yeah, but I love that horse connection with Brad Arnold, whose middle name is Kirk, kind of like Charlie Horse.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole other theme. That's a great addition, because now that's another theme I can really go after there, because that's definitely has to be part of it, a Charlie horse.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've done some related work. There's so much to do, and I guess the format that I do it in, the videos are so painstaking and they take so long. I'm kind of backlogged, but there's one very important theme, which is the fall. It's a very important theme, and in religion, Christianity, I guess Abrahamic religions in general, is the big fall is Lucifer's fall from heaven and the fallen angels, which some people will attribute the ancient Sumerian mythology with fallen angels archetype, which of course ancient Sumerian mythology far precedes Christianity and the Torah and the Old Testament. And of course, people make, scholars will disagree, but some will say that the Anunnaki Sumerian pantheon are the fallen angels. But of course, the fallen angels have different names in Christianity, but some will conflate the two. But I've talked about the fall often. And KODI just brought up Christopher Reeve. So Christopher Reeve is part of this very important and prevalent archetype of the fall, where Christopher Reeve falls off the horse. And he's so he'll be forever associated with Superman, even though obviously he's not, but it's a fall from a high status. Superman is supposed to be invincible, with the exception of kryptonite. And to go from being Superman to falling and being paralyzed, that's the same as going from a high status to a low status. And in history, the fall from the horse, the most famous and significant fall from a horse in history, is Richard III. Richard III was the last British king English/British king from the House of York. That was the end of the House of York. England had been, and Britain had been involved in basically a battle between the House of York and the House of Lancaster for the throne. And they went back and forth, and it was brutal. The House of York, their symbol was the white rose, and the House of Lancaster was the red rose. So their war was known as, their wars, plural, was known as the Wars of the Roses, because the roses were their symbols. And the very last king from the House of York was Richard III. William Shakespeare wrote a play. He wrote a history titled Richard III. That's where you get that famous line from Richard III, a horse, my kingdom for a horse. So that's in reference to Richard III, because back in the day, kings used to actually go to battle, and they had to learn to actually fight like warriors. You know, they didn't just give orders. And Richard III had a horse named Wall, an odd name for a horse, but he had a white horse named Wall, and he was fighting the forces of Henry VII, and Richard fell off of his horse in battle, and that's where you have the line that Shakespeare gave: a horse, my kingdom for a horse. But a horse was Wall, so that's actually where you get Humpty Dumpty from. Humpty Dumpty falling off the wall. Now, in that poem, nowhere does it suggest that Humpty Dumpty is an egg, but it's a reference to Richard III, because Richard III had scoliosis, so he's slightly hunchbacked, and so his nickname was Humpty Dumpty. So when Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, that was Richard III falling off his horse named Wall. And the metaphor there, which ties into the fall and the fallen angels and Lucifer, who's said to be the fallen angel. There's several, but Lucifer is the fallen angel. Lucifer is also a name for the sun. Lucifer in Latin means light bearer, light carrier. Now, some people will say that that refers to Venus, but it also refers to the sun. So there's the saying, Lucifer, son of the morning, is incomplete. It's Lucifer, son, S-O-N, of the morning star. The morning star is Venus. It's not Lucifer, son of the morning. It's Lucifer, son of the morning star. The morning star is Venus. Who is Venus's son? S-O-N. It's the sun at dawn, the newborn sun at dawn. And so 666 and the sun, where do those come together? In the magic squares. So there are magic squares, which are all, these are all triangular numbers. It's 1 through a certain number. And every planet up until Saturn, after Saturn, they don't have these. And the sun and the moon, not Earth, have a magic square. And the magic square of the sun, it has 36 squares. So the 36th triangular number is 666. And every line, every vertical line, every horizontal line, and every diagonal line in the magic square of the sun adds up to 111. But they all, so all the squares totally, because there are 36 squares in the magic square of the sun, they add up to 666. So 666, and these magic squares are used in actual magic. The reason they're called magic squares is because they're used in magic. 666 is the magic square of the sun. And the sun can be Lucifer, because Lucifer means light bringer. Who is the light bringer? The sun is the light bringer. It's also a moniker for Venus, is more female. So Lucy is the female, Luke is the male. You just talk about Luke in the skulls. So the reason Humpty Dumpty is an egg, it's a little occulted. It's a reference to the egg yolk, which is the yellow egg yolk, which is symbolic of the sun. And so the fall there, it's the actual fall. In the fall, the sun loses its strength. And the wall there is the equator. The sun is going over the equator at the end of summer into fall, or the sun is literally falling. I guess you could refer to fall as the fall of the sun or the fall of the leaves, but that's the fall. That's where Humpty Dumpty comes from, and that's also a reference to Richard III, which I just thought about this just as Cody talked about Christopher Reeve and falling off the horse, but that's the big horse symbol in history is Richard III falling off his horse named Wall, which Shakespeare wrote about. We said, a horse, my kingdom for a horse, but that also goes into the fallen angel Lucifer. Lucifer can be, like I said, it's the light bearer. Lucifer can be the sun also. When the sun goes down at dusk, you can say that's the fall of Lucifer as well. So this fall image, I talked last week about the Pirates fan last year, remember? This is
hey, Rambo, really quick before we get too far off of what you were just saying, I just think it's a great addition, honestly, is you were talking about Lucas, Light, right? And Christopher Reeve. It just makes me think of the Lakers right now. Luka Doncic playing for the Lakers alongside who? Austin Reeves. You see what I'm saying? The two white boys now playing. You know what I mean? I had to throw that in there because I kept hearing Reeve, and Lucas and Luka, and the L.A., the City of Lights, all that kind of stuff.
Lucas is George Lucas, who did Star Wars, right? And what's the nickname of the Seattle's defense?
The Dark Side.
And they play in Lumen Field. Lumen means a unit of light.
With Kobe Bryant and then Magic, right? Magic, two legendary names. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So this Lucas thing, actually, there's a whole Star Wars. I could probably do a whole decode on the Star Wars connection, of course, because the George Lucas, the Dark Side defense, it connects with the blackout stuff I talked about, of course, but that's neither here nor there right now. But just wanted to throw that in there as well.
Yeah. So another thing. Yeah, it is a great catch, AJ. So another thing about the Lakers is the color of their jersey, their yellow jersey. That's the sun color. It's like the yellow egg yolk. That's why Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. Humpty Dumpty is the sun. He's the sun. Yeah, it could be Richard III as well, falling off the horse named Wall. But Humpty Dumpty is the sun falling. And the sun is Lucifer, the light bearer, and 666 applies to the sun, Lucifer, the light bearer, through the magic square of the sun. And also remember, since you brought up the Lakers, who's a former, you're talking about LeBron's son. He's not, if he wasn't LeBron James' son, he might not even be in the NBA, let alone, playing for the Lakers. There's another player like that who had a great, all-time great dad, Hall of Fame dad, who got to play for the Lakers, Luke Walton. Not only did Luke Walton get to play for the Lakers, they hired him as head coach. I mean, he didn't come on. If he wasn't Bill Walton's son, head coach of the Lakers.
But Rambo, if I can just add one more to that, I can't believe you just brought up Luke Walton. Do you know where he went to college? Where he played? If not, that's fine. I'm just this is going to tie everything back perfectly.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
He played at Arizona.
Oh, okay.
He played at the University of Arizona. Who's redshirting for Arizona right now? LeBron's other son, Bryce James. He's on the roster, right? So this whole father-son thing with everything we're talking about, amazing.
Yeah. So this does have to do with the sun as the light bearer, because the symbol of Arizona, isn't it on the state seal, the state flag? The rising sun or the setting sun? Is it rising or setting? Arizona, and who's the Arizona NBA team? It's the Phoenix Suns. So that's why they're using Arizona, because of the sun symbol. The sun is Lucifer. Lucifer has many meanings. I can go into the various meanings of Lucifer. It's not that clear cut, black and white. It's the devil. Lucifer means many different things, and that's the thing about symbolism. One symbol can mean multiple different things. And that title of Lucifer can mean different things. But you'll see in this Lucifer symbolism, the sun keeps coming up. So since you mentioned Arizona, yes, Arizona is associated with the sun. It's in the flag of the state, the seal of the state, and yes, it's just an Arizona symbol. It's known for its sunsets, and the Phoenix Suns are the Arizona NBA team.
Yeah, I know you were about to dive into the Pirates and everything. I was just saying,
Yeah.
like, with everything you just touched on with Luke and Magic and with what Kobe added on, I was like, I think let's take a pause here really quick before we pivot back into the Fallen Angel with the Pirates. Skull and Bones, here we go again.
Yeah. So again, the Pirates, the Pirates were that was actually the title of a group in the Mediterranean who influenced Rome. Actually, thank my patron Casey, who's a great scholar. I appreciate these great patrons. I learn from them a lot, and you can learn too from them. To Casey, she explained Mithraism it's Roman sun worship, but Romans didn't start Mithraism. So Mithras is the sun god, and he's depicted killing the bull by stabbing the bull in the neck, which applies to Charlie Kirk. But the Roman military, just thanks to Casey, I learned this. The Roman military, they learned of Mithraism from the pirates. So pirate is it is a sun reference, like pyre. Pyre is fire, like pyrotechnics. It is a reference to fire, which is a reference to the sun. So even in the term pirates, that's actually a reference to Mithraism. And Mithras was the sun god and sun worship. So that's a big part, that's even in the name. So when that fan fell out of the stands in PNC Park in Pittsburgh, home of the Pittsburgh Pirates, that was a fallen angels ritual. It still resonates now. And I talked about the 92 because do I have here it is, yes. He actually survived the fall perfectly. I wouldn't say perfectly. He seemed, you can't tell what someone's going through. He's well enough to show up at 5 months later, same season. He showed back up at PNC Park to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. His name was Kavan Markwood, and his name sums to 149, which we looked at last week. And he threw out the first pitch ceremonially on September 20th, that's 9/20/2025. That was a Pirates home game. He fell out of the stands that same season on April 30th, which is the foundation day of the Church of Satan, which had to go. It's another Lucifer interpretation. So the day he threw out the first pitch after recovering from the fall was the anniversary of the very first game of the Pittsburgh Steelers football team, who were originally called the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pittsburgh Steelers started out as the Pittsburgh Pirates. Then so Pittsburgh had two Pirates teams playing in the same stadium, Forbes Field. So we had two Pittsburgh Pirates football, Pittsburgh Pirates baseball had the same team before the Steelers changed their name. And they had the same home stadium, which is Forbes Field. Another thing about Forbes Field, which is very significant, that confirms this was a fallen angels ritual, is because the movie Angels in the Outfield, the original Angels in the Outfield, was filmed at Forbes Field. And it's another thing that ties in with Los Angeles. They have the sun color, the yellow, and they have Luka Doncic, they have Luke Walton, but they're also from Los Angeles, which is Spanish, Los Angeles, for the angels. See this fallen angels theme over and over again. But this was the 92nd anniversary of the first game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, at the time known as the Pittsburgh Pirates. And it was 92 years later. It's the 92nd anniversary. And 92 is very significant in the history of the Pittsburgh Pirates because they'd won 3 straight division crowns until 1992. This was their last year with Barry Bonds. Once they lost Barry Bonds, it all went downhill. And they actually set a record for all of American Major League sports for consecutive losing seasons. They had 20 consecutive losing seasons, the Pittsburgh Pirates, after 1992. And they lost the national championship series in heartbreaking fashion. They were 1 out away from making it to the World Series in 1992. And that was on, I don't know if I have a graphic here.
Rambo, did you just say that the Angels in the Outfield movie it was partly filmed in Pittsburgh? Did that the original Angels in the Outfield?
Yeah, so the one most people be familiar with would be the more recent one, which starred the California Angels.
Right.
But the original Angels in the Outfield, which was in 1951, featured the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it took place in Forbes Field. Which that's why I'm saying so that's a clincher that fan Kevon Markwood falling from the stands. That was a fallen Angels ritual because the Pittsburgh Pirates home stadium was used for angels in the outfield. When you see angels, you see fallen angels, and you see that yellow color again. That's the sun color.
My apologies. I just wanted to make sure that I got that clarified, because the only movie I ever knew about was, the newer Angels in the Outfield, about the California Angels. So sorry, I just needed some clarity on that.
No, though the original was Forbes Field, which was home to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who used to be called the Pittsburgh Pirates. And so that's that angel reference. But so he falls from the stands, he throws out the first pitch that same season, 5 months later. He throws it out on 9/20. It was 92 years and 0 days, 9/20, after the first game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were known as the Pirates, in Forbes Field on 9/20. So, I mean, how neat is that? And 92 is a big number for the Pittsburgh Pirates in their history. After winning the division for 3 straight years, in 1992, they went on the longest consecutive losing season streak after 1992. But I don't know if, here's the graphic. It was October 14th when they had that heartbreaking loss. They were 1 out away from making it to the World Series. It was October 14th, which, as we know, that's Charlie Kirk's birthday, but that's also George Floyd's birthday. George Floyd was also a fallen angel ritual as well. The famous picture of George Floyd, the most prominent one, most recognizable one, is George Floyd with a brick wall in the back. That's the wall. Remember the name of Richard III's horse that he fell off of? Wall. Where did Humpty Dumpty fall off of? He fell off the wall. And Humpty Dumpty's the sun, which is the setting sun.
I wonder if there was any wall symbolism with the 2002 World Series, because I just wanted to shout out Caesar here, pointing out Barry Bonds, who was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Angels have only won 1 World Series, and that was in 2002 against the Giants, with Barry Bonds and the Giants. So this Pittsburgh Angels thing just keeps getting deeper and deeper. So I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt. I just think
no. I don't want to do all the talking. I mean, if you guys can add, then please go ahead. I don't want to just talk. I mean,
no, it's all good. I don't want to interrupt your flow, but Barry Bonds, like the Angels win their only World Series against Barry Bonds with San Francisco, but he was drafted by the Pirates, so.
Yeah, so since 92 is big in Pittsburgh history. It was 20 consecutive losing seasons, which is pretty amazing. And this is how it ties into George Floyd, because this was George Floyd's birthday as well. Remember that the sun set in Minneapolis on the day that George Floyd died at 8:46 p.m. That's why they said that the time it took for him to die was 8:46, and 8:46 became like a slogan for the, anti-police brutality movement, 8:46. But they even acknowledged, even when they used 8:46 as the official time it took for George Floyd to be killed, they acknowledged that anybody who looks at the footage knows that it didn't take 8:40. In fact, it's very hard to where do you start when you measure how long it took? Where do you start? And when do you know exactly when he expired? So it's really not a number you can really come up with to the second. You can't. So they chose that number because the sun set in Minneapolis, Minnesota at 8:46 on May 25th, 2020. And it was a sunset ritual. And he was born in the fall. He was a Libra. October 14th. Libra is the scales. That's the equinox. That's when the sun goes over the wall. Libra is the wall. That's why they have that brick wall pattern behind him. And what's a famous album? One of the most famous rock/pop albums of all time. Pink Floyd, George Floyd, Pink Floyd, The Wall. Pink Floyd, The Wall. Floyd in the Wall. That ties into. And who's the co-founder, most famous member of Pink Floyd is Roger Waters. And where did George Floyd get killed? At Cup Waters. So yeah, that's all. It's all ritual, but it's the fall. He represented George Floyd represented the fall. He had the fall birthday and the sunset. The sunset on Minneapolis at that time. So yeah, this is just the Pirates. So October 14th has haunted the Pittsburgh Pirates. For diehard Pittsburgh Pirates fans, October 14th, 1992 has really haunted them. But going into the fallen angel theme. So we talked about 6-7. It was you, thanks to you, AJ. I didn't know about the South Park episode, and you did the gematria calculation on satanic. I think it's a simple cipher where satanic sums to 67.
Yep.
Yeah. And so this is what the KODI came up with a Ubuntu reset is 67. That's huge too. So it's not only one thing. Water. I talk about Roger Waters and Cup Foods. Water is 67, but the whole satanic thing, which is being confirmed by those in power, which is South Park, stressing the satanic theme, and satanic sums to 67. Which again, shout out to you. This is what that 67 is about. Paradise Lost, which is a very important text to the elite. The elite are not one monolithic entity, but a good portion of the elite. Paradise Lost to them. Like, so if you want to analyze the events in the world today, you have to look at Paradise Lost. That is a seminal work for the elite, is Paradise Lost. And this is what the 6-7 is. And why it's associated with Satan and the fall is because Paradise Lost was published in 1667. And which is about Paradise Lost is who lost. It's about Satan lost paradise. Well, he was in heaven, Lucifer, and then he fell. But then he interacts with Adam and Eve, and they were on earth, but in paradise. And then they lost paradise after interacting with Lucifer, is, I guess, the gist of it. That's why it's called Paradise Lost, but it's about the fallen angel. It's about Lucifer. And that's why 6-7 is so big. You have to understand the importance of Paradise Lost to the elite. I think this is, like I said, symbols mean many things. Even the term Lucifer means many things. 6-7, while it might mean multiple things, this is the key. The publication year of Paradise Lost, 1667, and it's about the fall. Lucifer falling from heaven. If you have anything to add, or I can.
I was just going to say it reminds me of the whole breakdown you and I did about Dogma. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, playing fallen angels that are, the whole movie is about them trying to trick God to go back to heaven, so kind of falls right in line with that. And they just so happen to come out with a new movie called The Rip. I haven't even looked into that yet, but yeah, great stuff so far, Rambo.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yeah, so this is about so I wanted to do a full, I've probably got a whole 2 hours, I guess, worth of material on the fall, and it keeps adding to it. Even just what KODI mentioned today, I forgot, Christopher Reeve falling off the horse. The fall is huge. So the name Lucifer is debated.
Oh, sorry, Rambo. One other thing, and shout out to Myron. He got game. Remember the whole thing we were talking about? We're moving from duck season to wabbit season.
Yeah.
Drake the male duck, Bad Bunny, Donnie Darko, all that. Well, J. Cole, once again, shout out Myron. J. Cole was also part of this whole beef with Kendrick Lamar and Drake and all that stuff, but he removed himself from it, and he has a song called Hunting Wabbits, and he just released an album called what? The Fall Off.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so make sure to
All right.
it's literally called The Fall Off. Let me see if I can find the release date here really quick. Release dates. Yeah, 4 days ago, February 6th, on 2/6 in the year 26, The Fall Off, J. Cole. So
Yeah, so he released that on Brad Garlinghouse's birthday, which was that's also Queen Elizabeth. That's also my birthday, or not my channel's birthday, but
happy birthday.
yeah, what's funny about that? I don't talk about this often, but my first big topic I always talked about in 2022. I started my channel in 2022, and I opened my channel on February 6th, and I didn't even mean to do it. There was not planned, and that's the day Queen Elizabeth became queen. And one of my first big things was trying to say I kind of knew Queen Elizabeth was going to die. Well, because other people Zach Hubbard was talking about she was probably going to pass away in 2022. So I was kind of on that riddle. And that was kind of like my first major riddle on my channel. And she died that year. But the big thing is I started my channel without knowing on the day she became queen. And if you look up the gematria of my channel and you look up the gematria of Queen Elizabeth II, it's a super match in all ciphers. Like literally all ciphers. What are the odds of that?
Wow,
like
dude.
I didn't even mean to do that, but I named my channel Decoding with Cody. That's just what came to me, and then it just happens to match Queen Elizabeth II in all ciphers. So I have a big connection with Queen Elizabeth just in general, and she was super connected to this as well because, and in fact, I'm going to have to be talking about her over the next couple days because her husband, lover of horses, Mr. Philip, his death to the horse year beginning, 1776 days. That's super big because Philip means lover of horses. And
Could you repeat that? Sorry, could you repeat that again? That sounds like a huge one.
From Prince Philip's death, lover of horses, dude, to the horse year is 1776 days.
Wow.
And I believe she has I don't remember the measurement from her death, but there's also a big connection there. Her last picture on her last birthday was her with 2 white horses. And remember, well, Prince Philip was a huge horse rider as well. He was, but he's also connected to the Denmark theme that kind of went on this year. He's the Prince of Denmark, also. But yeah, so Queen Elizabeth died exactly 41 months before the Super Bowl, which is the gematria of king. So King Charles became king exactly 41 months before the Super Bowl, which is the gematria of king. So I mean that it lined up with King Charles. The whole Super Bowl lined up with King Charles perfectly. And think about it: New England lost. New England. He's the king of England. So I'm gonna have a decode this week or sometime soon about this whole horse thing and how it connects to the royal family. It's just why Philip Rivers also connects. But on that note too, I gotta tell you guys this because how you guys know better than anyone. How often did I talk about the Colts all year? And of course, Philip Rivers came back to play for the Colts, lover of horses. Well,
You know,
you will not believe it.
Cody, before I forget, here's another thing that's really weird, just with the basketball mindset that I have. Nikola Jokic, there's a whole running joke about how Nikola Jokic was more excited when his horse won some sort of race than him winning the NBA Finals. And where does he play? Denver, home of the Broncos, the horse, right? So I had to throw that in there. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, that just proves that the horse theme is still. I mean, the horse theme is huge right now. I mean, it's And it's huge in general because the first Super Bowl was in the year of the horse, the fire horse. So we're like coming full circle 60 years later. And then all the horse themes, like, and again, don't forget what Rambo just said, Richard falling off the horse. Forget what Sam Darnold's middle name is, Richard. Forget what his grandfather's name was, Richard Dick Hammer. And think about horses.
I can't get over that one.
Think about horses, though. They're known for, wasn't there this thing about drinking horse semen or at one point? Remember that viral thing? People were supposedly drinking horse semen, which was crazy.
They do that in Jackass.
Yeah,
They're
Johnny
coming out with a
Knoxville.
new Jackass too. It's funny you say that. I think they're coming out with a
Jackass
new-
is of the horse family.
yeah.
yeah. But going back to this Colts thing, guys. So I didn't know this, and I don't know if you guys knew this, but I learned this from Zach Hubbard because he's the one that mentioned it in his live stream. And I'm glad I listened to this because all year I'm on the Colts, right? And I'm on Miami. I'm talking about Colts, Indianapolis, all their Super Bowls, all the Colts Super Bowls occurred in Miami. Well, I don't know if I'll just take my screen for 1 second, so because it's better I show you this.
Yeah.
Let's see. So look at the Colts where their franchise originated from. They literally came
They're from Miami?
the original franchise that went to Baltimore came from the Miami Seahawks. Are you kidding me? Like, this connects to everything I talked about all year.
Wow.
I was talking about why the Colts, they won their first game this year 33-0 in Miami. They've been to all their Super Bowls in Miami. And
Did you see the whole thing with Fernando? Oh, here we go again with my camera with Fernando Mendoza, right? Who led Indiana to an undefeated championship run. That photo of him in the Miami uniform, wearing the 119. He won the championship.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Did you see him? Did you see him on the Pat McAfee show?
No, I didn't see it.
Where he would, dude. I'll send it to you. He was joking on the Pat McAfee show about how he was a 2-star recruit at a Yale University and how he needed to network and go into Skull and Bones. He literally said, I was trying to get into Skull and Bones, all these things, and it just ties right back into the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl with everything else we talked about with Skull and Bones. Kenneth Walker, Paul Walker, all that stuff. Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get excited, man. This is an amazing find right here. The Miami.
But this explains everything in my, and this like puts everything in my, I don't even need numbers. This in my mind, this puts everything together.
Yeah.
The Colts and all their connections to Miami. And then why did Indiana end up going down to Miami and beating Miami in the national championship? This is why.
Yeah.
And why was the Colts first game with Philip, the lover of horses, against who? The Seahawks. That was the riddle. That was the riddle. The Seahawks were going to win the whole time. Had I known this back then, I would have been on the Seahawks, man. I would have been all over. I'd have been over the Seahawks all year if I'd have known this.
The submarine Seahawks, right? Yep.
Yeah, because I was like, there's all these riddles for the Colts going to the Super Bowl this year. And then you have Phillip Rivers come back, and it's like his birthday aligned perfectly with the Super Bowl and the horse theme. And then I find out this just way too late. Like, it's just crazy how you go through a whole year talking about the Colts and the Super Bowl, and then you realize, wait, you missed the most important connection that would have put all the pieces together and probably would have led to way more accurate things. Because, I mean, now the Seahawks have gone on to win the Super Bowl when I was on the Colts all year. So, and then, like the colors of the logo the logo for the Super Bowl next year is a tidal wave with a green and yellow, a teal and yellow, which looks like the Miami Dolphins colors. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet, but Yeah, just go look it up. There's, or I can show it, but the Super Bowl 61 logo is. Oh, and Rambo, real fast, just to add to what you were saying, I had to throw this in here. While you were looking, I just typed in the gematria of a horse, my kingdom for a horse, and it just happens to equal Ramonde Stevenson in
Wow.
Latin.
Wow.
So I don't know what that means, but considering you just talked about both those things, and again, a Latin cipher match is not something to
Yeah.
throw out because
That's rare. Yeah.
that's not something that happens easily.
That's a
So
long
there's
odds.
probably, and Ramonde Stevenson, Steven means crown. So I'm wondering, we're talking about Richard, King Richard. So crown Stevenson means crown son. There has to be something there, I think. But yeah, back to what I was saying, the Super Bowl 61, the logo is like, it looks like the Miami colors, right? But it's not even in Miami. It's in Los Angeles. So yeah, I'm just thinking about that. And there's the last time the Super Bowl was in SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, the Rams made it to the Super Bowl and won in their home stadium also. But a lot of people are already on the conspiracy theory of like the logo colors, and even the top websites are acknowledging this. Like DraftKings posted, like, I guess the Super Bowl next year is going to be one of these teams, and they posted all the orange and green teams. Like, and this is like DraftKings, like a big website, so they're already all over this. This is going to be a big theme going into next year. Is everyone's going to see if this color theme is going to end up playing out? But I mean, the Colts are super connected to this color theme as well. I mean, they always go to the Super Bowl in Miami. Their original colors essentially were green and orange, with being the Seahawks. Is this a riddle for the Seahawks to go back? Or is this a riddle for the Dolphins? Or is this a riddle for, I don't think they'll play it out where the team with the colors goes, because this is going to be a huge topic all year.
Well, don't forget that it's on Valentine's Day, right? So there's a whole other theme that Jordan Love, playing for the green team, green the heart chakra, maybe makes his way to his first Super Bowl on Valentine's Day. And there's
Also,
a lot of green. There's a lot of green in that logo too, right?
Yeah, also,
Yeah.
water is a metaphor for emotion, which ties into love. And I'll give an example where they did that when Will Smith did his apology, quote unquote, a year later. Who apologizes a year later, sincerely, after he slapped
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock? Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we did his apology on online. Of course, everybody was waiting. The ratings were high. He hit it somewhere on some platform, and he used the opportunity. Now, Will Smith is actually he's a love symbol. He's from the city of brotherly love. He only does positive characters. He's never a villain. He doesn't curse, even when he did hip hop and stuff. He's kind of a love symbol himself, I suppose, especially where he's from, city of brotherly love. And he had there were green lights, decorative lights in the background, and he was advertising his son Jaden's new flavored water company. And he was saying he's sorry and how he apologized, but that's one of the, I guess, a very vivid example of how they are conscious, and they consciously use water as a metaphor for emotion. So that ties into the love. Water and love go together.
And yeah, and that's this whole Super Bowl, this current one, the Seahawks. It's crazy that they revealed this logo right after the Seahawks one, and then they put the water on there for the next logo, and the beast out of the sea reference. The almost, somebody in the chat just said the beast out of the sea caused a ripple effect, and it caused a wave. And again, this actually does tie to Ripple XRP. Again, this could be a financial thing, a wave of something, into the financial system. And the Super Bowl is in SoFi Stadium, which equals 589, which is a Ripple XRP code number. And tsunami wave equals 42 in Chaldean. And I revealed this in my decode of the Super Bowl this week. one of the big reasons why the Super Bowl was 42 points. Of course, we already revealed another reason why, but I had mentioned that it was 181 months after the Beastquake in Seattle, which, of course, is the 42nd prime. And it was number 24 who did that. And, of course, 24 is the reverse of 42. So this was a huge part of this that not a lot of people talked about, that it was exactly 181 months after the Beastquake. So the Beast out of the sea, the Beastquake, the tidal wave now, and for the next Super Bowl. I would not be surprised if we get a huge earthquake somewhere in the world to tie into this in the next year to go with this tidal wave on the on the logo. And then Bad Bunny, as I mentioned, the final score was 42 points, but all the people that were in the halftime show were connected with Mars. Martinez is Bad Bunny's middle name. Ricky Martin is another Mars reference. And then Lady Gaga, who doesn't have a direct Mars connection, she performed the song that she does with Bruno Mars. Of course, war equals 42.
She's an Aries. She's an Aries.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I missed that part. But yeah, that's but yeah, no, okay, so she's an Aries, and she did the song with Bruno Mars that she performed at the Super Bowl. And another thing that a lot of people missed, this 42 total points was exactly 4 weeks and 2 days before Bad Bunny's birthday, which is the birthday of Mr. Electricity, Los Angeles. The next Super Bowl's in LA. Justin Herbert.
Home of the Chargers. And
a war horse. So this connects to the horse. It connects to the blackout theme, the electricity. And, this was 42 weeks before Russell Wilson's birthday. And Russell Wilson has the Carrington, which is the Carrington event, which is the blackout in 1859. But a big reason why is this. So Chaldean cannot be overlooked. And I need to be using this more, but this cipher always comes up big. And look at from Bad Bunny's The Blackout song, which in Spanish is El Apagón. He performed this in the halftime show as he was climbing the power line poles. From the blackout, which that's what it translates to in English, is the blackout. It's 42 moons exactly to the Super Bowl, where there was 42 points. And notice that Super Bowl equals 42. San Francisco equals 42. New England equals 42 in this cipher. Ripple XRP, 42 in this cipher. But Tsunami Wave, 42 in this cipher. And that's what they put on the logo for the next Super Bowl after this.
Cody, on top of that, just with the lunar connections and the moon, I wanted to take a quick pivot back to RAMBO, because RAMBO's done amazing work on the money connections to water, right? RAMBO was just talking about the water connections with love, right, and emotion. But let's not forget about those themes as well, especially with the whole digital currency and everything you've been talking about with Ripple XRP. But going back to Brad Arnold, with the middle name Kirk, Brad Arnold, Kryptonite, Superman and Kryptonite. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
and that's green too, right? So we have, the logos of the colors of the Super Bowl are kind of a green, teal, and an orange. And I mean, it's clear why he died one day before. Also, another thing, their bands.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean is Crypto Knight. It could be like a knight, or like I said, that's why Brad Garlinghouse is depicted as a knight he's literally the crypto knight. He's fighting for the crypto industry. But yeah, so like another big thing that interesting is that Brad Arnold, his band, Three Doors Down, 2 of their albums were released on February 8th. Out of their 5 or 6 albums, 2 of them were released on February 8th. So
it's so weird how many of his songs are like, when I'm gone. Like it's almost like every song is about him dying in kind of a weird way,
Yeah,
Be my kryptonite, and
a lot of his songs are a reflection on life, like in general. So it's very, and I love their songs. I've always loved their songs. That they just always had it hit me in the right place, and just him in general. He always seemed like a good guy. You know, I'm not saying anything bad or against him, but I'm not. And he looked sick if you look at his pictures before he died. And in fact, I mentioned, I could bring up a post. I talked about this with Derek in October, that Brad Arnold was probably going to pass away, because I had found out he had cancer. He announced his cancer on Pope Leo's conclave. And Charlie Kirk had already died at that point, and I noticed his middle name was Kirk. I never looked more into it, really, though. I probably could have honed in on something if I would have really tried. But I did also, I did mention this to Derek months ago about he would die soon. And when it happened, I know he was, I found out on the live stream that I was doing.
Three Doors Down, kind of like, just simply put, it kind of, I immediately started thinking about that Donald Trump Serta commercial when he was standing next to the 9 and 11 pillars with the sheep.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go back and look, like, how many doors were there in the hallway? But I just think, like, 3 doors down. Like, I mean, with all the Patriot symbolism,
keep thinking, like,
there could be something about that too.
I keep thinking, like, you know what I mean? Like, people, you can think of this in different ways. Like, you live 3 doors down from somebody, or you could think 3 doors down as in we've gotten through the 3 doors. We've moved through the 3 doors. You know what I mean? Like,
and Rambo has been talking a lot about the whole all-seeing eye on the door during the whole Minnesota ice raid. You know? The door was a very big part of that whole decode that he did too. So
all 3 members, original members of this band, all 3 members are now out of the band. So he was the 3rd and final member of the 3 original members to be out of the band, essentially. 2 of them, I think, died. One's not dead, but he was the 3rd door. He was the 3rd door down. You know what I mean? Because they started with these 3 original members, which is why they named the band 3 Doors Down anyways, because they had 3 members at the time. But now all 3 are down. They're out, right? And when Christopher Reeve crashed on his horse, it was at the 3rd gate. The horse stopped at the 3rd gate and didn't continue. And that's why he crashed and got hurt. And when Christopher Reeve got hurt, not only did his horse stop at the 3rd gate, he injured his 1st and 2nd, his C1 and C2, but that's what they say. They say he injured his C1 and C2, but not his C3. So it's almost like that crash stopped at the 3rd door or the 3rd gate and didn't, get through there. But almost like the death of this guy now is kind of like saying, okay, now we're through the 3rd gate. You know what I mean? This is Christopher Reeve. He didn't get through the 3rd gate, but now we've reached that 3rd door is down. It's fallen. Or we've walked through that 3rd door. I don't know if you guys get what I mean. It's a bit interesting. It's just something I'm theorizing, because I think that has to be something, especially with Christopher Reeve and the story of the 3rd jump that the horse was trying to go over. But yeah, that's just another connection with, and of course we know how big the number 3 is in general. The Trinity, and I had brought this up earlier, but this is something to remember going forward. Kirk Allen, he was the one of the original Supermans that was part of the Superman curse.
That's crazy, dude.
And again, if you look at
wow,
if you look at Brad Allen's age, or Brad Arnold's age on his death, I knew this had to mean something. When I saw this, I was like, what? He died this happens a lot, guys. They'll die on exactly a number, like you guys know what I mean? Like a 1730, like, so you're getting a 173 here. Like I've seen this so many times with deaths. They'll die on a perfect alignment like this. And I was like, this has to mean something. Like, I know Ad Marum Dei Gloriam, he was born on the Jesuits' birthday, this guy, Brad Arnold. So Ad Marum Dei Gloriam makes 173. But what it was is, thanks to Zenith of the Alpha, in Derek's chat, look at this. This was the clue. I couldn't understand why it was 173, and then it made sense. If you just type in Superman curse,
and they called Charlie Kirk Superman because his neck prevented a bullet. Like, stop the bullet.
Exactly. That was the whole thing with Charlie Kirk, was a big Superman riddle. But look at this. This was, again, shout out Zenith of the Alpha. He pretty much nailed this. Like, he's like, he was in Derek's chat and earlier, and he said Superman curse equals 173. I was like, oh, there it is. Why did the kryptonite guy die at 17300 days? And again, this is the gematria of Admerum Dei Gloriam, which is the Jesuit motto. And look at how it has the 56, like Society of Jesus. So yeah, I think that's crazy. I mean, it might seem like a little connection, but I think that's crazy that he died at one, because his whole thing was that they are known for the Kryptonite song. That's 100% what they're known for. And Derek did a whole video. Make sure you guys go check out Derek from Gematinator. He did a whole great video on the connections with all these things.
That's unbelievable. Were you saying that Kirk Allen was the very first Superman, or like just one of the first?
He might have been. I think maybe he might have been. I don't know for sure, but it's, he also played Sam Lane.
He's born on Pi Day too.
He died on Pi Day.
Oh, died on Pi Day, yeah.
But so not only did he play Superman in 1948, he also played Sam Lane in the 1978 Superman, which again, I told you guys earlier, what's with this 1978? Well, that was the year of the horse. That was the year Brad Arnold was born. So he played in the original Superman, which Christopher Reeve was in, but he didn't play Superman. He played Sam Lane. So he has two connections to Superman. But it just happened to be in the year of the horse, which again, I already mentioned how significant that was with the death of Brad Arnold. Because again, he died on the year of the horse started on February 7th, 1978. So this whole thing is about the year of the horse, really. Like it's all about the year of the horse.
Makes me think, just back to the shooting themes, because we were talking about Austin Reeves, who plays for the Lakers, right? Christopher Reeve, Christopher Reeve, Austin Reeves. His Austin Reeves of the Lakers, his nickname is AR-15. So there's a whole like kind of gun reference there. Just going back to Charlie Kirk and him being hunted down by a hunting rifle. So Austin Reeves, Mr. AR-15. So just another addition there.
Reminds me of the Colts backup quarterback Anthony Richardson. They used to call him AR-15.
Oh my God, man. Are you serious?
Yeah, he was in college, he wore the number 15 and they used to call him AR-15, but he changed his number to 5 in the NFL. So that
Austin Reeves wears 15, right? So that's kind of the oh my God, you know what I just thought of? Andre Karolinko used to play in the NBA for the Utah Jazz. AK, he wore number 47. They called him AK-47. Charlie Kirk shot and killed in Utah. I mean, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
No, that's amazing stuff, Cody. Seriously. Yeah, go ahead, Rambo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Man of Steel also ties into the Steelers. That's the Pittsburgh is the center of steel production in the United States.
Hell yeah. Yep. Oh my God.
I mean, another thing is, I just thought Super Bowl Superman.
Oh yeah.
There's also the horse at the Denver airport. It's nicknamed Lucifer. So that's where you get a correlation between the horse symbol and the Lucifer symbol. It's Lucifer. That's actually the nickname of that horse. Lucifer.
Oh yeah, I think I had looked into that and I thought that. No, okay.
But can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Somebody just mentioned in the chat that Donald Trump was shot in Pennsylvania. He was shot. Yeah, he was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, which is the Pittsburgh metropolitan area. And remember when I brought up the 920s, which is September 20? That's the Pittsburgh Steelers. First game was on September 20. That's the anniversary when Kevon Markwood, who fell out of the stands at PNC Park at home with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And again, the Pittsburgh Steelers were the Pittsburgh Pirates when they played their first ever game on 9/20. And Kevon Markwood threw out the first pitch on 9/20, 92 years after the Steelers' first game. September 20th, that same day, is the birthday of Matthew Crooks, who is accused of shooting Donald Trump in the Pittsburgh metropolitan area.
Huh.
That's Matthew Crooks' birthday, 9/20, as well. And he's from the Pittsburgh metropolitan area. Just since somebody brought up that shooting ties right into it in Butler. And there's a player named Butler who caught the interception in the end zone that clinched Super Bowl 49 for the New England Patriots over the Seahawks, the first time they played each other. Super Bowl 49. It was Butler who made that interception that clinched the game, very famously. Ties into
Is Aaron Rodgers coming back next year for the Steelers?
From what I've heard, that he is.
Oh.
Another
What I've
AR.
heard. I mean, don't take my word for it, but that's what I've in my decoding. You run across stuff. Not that I'm really like into the NFL like that. I did see some articles seem to imply that he was coming back.
It'd be interesting, with the Steelers, connection, and I mean, a Super Bowl matchup that would be really interesting would be the Steelers and the Packers. You'd get that love theme in there. It'd be pretty emotional, wouldn't it? For an emotional Super Bowl with the Steelers and the Aaron Rodgers playing his former team, in California, not in San Francisco where he's from, but in California, his home state.
Yep.
On Valentine's Day against Love. Two very famous teams, of course, in the NFL would be a pretty big Super Bowl, Packers and Steelers, I feel like. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm just saying that'd be an interesting option.
Yep. I mean, that would be a perfect right off into the sunset kind of game for Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
Like for him to take down the younger player, just like with Peyton Manning, just up the road from where Aaron's from.
And just so people know, the Super Bowl next year will not be in the year of the horse. So both Super Bowls did not fall actually in the year of the horse. It'll be in the year of the goat.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what year would that be?
But the goat is also the ram, which I found out today.
And
the
other team across the aisle in LA.
So the Chinese actually give it the goat, but it can also be called the year of the ram. And it's in the Ram Stadium. So think about that already. I mean, it's in the Ram Stadium in the year of the ram or the goat. The Rams, last time there was a Super Bowl in the Ram Stadium, they made it there and won it against the Bengals, of course. So that's just something to think about that I saw today as well. That kind of seems interesting. But yeah,
I got more Lucifer stuff. If that's not too scary.
Yeah. Yeah, bring it on.
So let's go into some of the definitions of Lucifer. We're talking about the fall. The name Lucifer is debatable, and it means many different things. It means a light bearer, light carrier, which is a light carrier. It's not normally what you'd think of when you're referring to an evil entity. There's actually John Milton plays a really big part in Lucifer being the moniker for Satan or the devil. That actually had more to do with John Milton and Dante, the Italian writer Dante as well. He did Inferno, and the term Lucifer is Latin. It's Lucifer. It's carrying the light. But the Old Testament wasn't written in Latin. So what did they say originally? It's Isaiah 14:12. They use the term, this is in Hebrew, Hallel, Heyel, Hallel. And Hallel, which they translate a Hallel to Lucifer. Hallel means shining one or brilliant. Hallel ben Shahar means shining one, son of the dawn. That's actually closer to what So what are they referring to? Son of the dawn. Again, it's the sun. It sounds like they're referring to the sun. What's the son of the dawn? And sun is S-O-N. It's masculine. So yeah, it's so the dawn is a big part of it. So Venus is associated with the dawn. It's the morning star, but so is the sun is the morning star as well. And what is the name of the duck? That was a mascot for the New England Patriots. It was named Don. That's a Lucifer reference. Who is Don the duck? Pet duck goes viral after attending Patriots game. So that Don there is a Lucifer. That's the morning star. And there's the mascot. Lucky Duck, meet Don, the unofficial mascot. So I also talk about the Friars. So this is the Providence College Friars. I mean, I'll go off on a tangent on that one. Why I brought up the Friars. Providence was in the news. He's talking about shooting and AK-47 and AR-15. And there was a shooting at Providence College in Rhode Island. And I talked about their hockey team because the goaltender, is that the term they use in hockey for Providence College, is Jack Parsons. His name is Jack Parsons. I don't know if you remember. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah.
Just
yeah, it's hilarious.
I'm sorry, kid.
No. I find it funny. Yeah, it is. So that's actually so. Yeah, so that's actually why I initially brought up the Friars, because there was the shooting there. And thanks to Bobby Simpson, again, shout out to Bobby Simpson. He's the one who introduced us to brown lunation, which is a term referring to a new moon. There's a count, on new moons, but brown lunation refers to a new moon. And the moon was the theme. So brown, what do friars wear? Friars wear brown. This ties into the Super Bowl because Jack Parsons, the rocket scientist Jack Parsons, has a crater named after him on the dark side of the moon. And what is the name of the Super Bowl winning Seattle Seahawks defense? The dark side. That's a moon reference. The dark side is a moon reference. The dark side of the moon, where there's a crater to Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons being the goalkeeper for the Providence Friars hockey team, which I haven't looked at the NCAA hockey. I mean, I want to keep an eye on the Providence Friars just because Jack Parsons guy. And Don the Duck was also a mascot there. But Dark Side of the Moon is, I'll just talk about Pink Floyd. Dark Side of the Moon is another popular song from Pink Floyd. Now, that song was produced by Alan Parsons of the Alan Parsons Project, who's famous for the Sirius song. But Alan Parsons is related to the Dark Side of the Moon song by Pink Floyd. Again, and the moon, the new moon, brown lunation, friars wear brown. So yeah, so Don the Duck is a Lucifer reference. But again, yeah, I haven't looked at NCAA hockey, but I keep an eye on the Providence Friars. I don't know how they're doing now. There's a couple months when I did this a couple months ago. They were ranked, I think, 17th. So I mean, that's not impossible for them to win. And that's Don the Duck. Again, Don. This this is very important. The three toes of the duck. Ducks have three toes, it's very important. But dragons or draconian type lizard type figures also are known for three toes. And I've given the example of the Toronto Raptors. I shared that with you, AJ, on Instagram. Oh no, it's on Discord. About the three toes when you showed the picture of Drake, the Draco May, with Stephen Curry. Remember that?
Yeah, and his little hands had the three fingers.
Yeah, these little hands, the little fingers. Yeah, and it had the three fingers, and that's Drake. That's the Draco, and he was with Stephen Curry. I don't know, where was Stephen Curry at that time? Was he in the NBA yet, or still in college? Or
I'm pretty sure he was like, a year or two into the league. I mean, maybe he was at Davidson, but I'm pretty sure he was with the Warriors.
Yeah, so this duck is actually a male. This actually is a Drake, even though the Drake has a female name, because the caretaker of Drake, who actually owns Don. Now, I don't blame him. You can't tell if the duck is male or female. So he thought the duck was female for whatever reason and named the duck Dawn. But when he took it to the vet, they said, no, that's a female. I mean, sorry, that's a male. But he said he'd already given it a male name. Now, most people would change the name. That's how you know this is all ritual. Change the name. Once you know you could call it, all he would have had to do once he found out it was a male is change Dawn from DAWN to DON. That would have been the simplest thing to do. But he kept a female name, but it was a drake, even when he was told that it was a drake, a male duck. And this is it's symbolism. Not just a random person who picks up a duck ends up at the New England Patriots with their duck as a mascot. That doesn't happen to just anybody. You have to be, affiliated with, certain institutions. This is the picture. I got a screenshot from you that you shared with me on Discord of Stephen Curry and Drake May. Talk about the little fingers. Yeah.
No, I never would have seen that. That there were other things. Like, isn't it so weird? Like every single year, it seems like over the last 3 or 4 years, they always show like these players who end up in the big game or winning the championship, them as kids, and yeah, I think I just forwarded that to you, Rambo. I was like, here we go again. And then, yeah, you were like, oh yeah, look at his little fingers. Look at his little 3 toes.
Yeah, that's a drake. That's because that's the 3 toes of the duck foot. And this was a drake. Dawn, but it's
crazy,
drake, which is a Lucifer reference. That's why if you call it Dawn, Lucifer is the morning star or the son of the morning star. Lucifer is associated with the dawn. So this is a Lucifer reference. That's why he didn't change the name. If you change it to DON, that makes no sense in the context of Lucifer. The Lucifer thread, or whatever you want to call it, theme, thread, esoteric, is the reason they kept the name Dawn. And I don't think he came up with that name for the duck either. I doubt it.
Well, and just really quick, of course, they're showing this with Steph Curry, who has played his entire career in San Francisco. Drake May getting his ass kicked in San Francisco. And, and the other thing too, before we wrap this up, and I'm not trying to close it out right now, but all the stuff that you pointed out with that commercial with the little kid and all the stuff that I pointed out, but you were, talking about who was it that was walking in shambles with the Warriors jersey? And, I don't know. I don't want to get you too off of your presentation, but we definitely need to touch on that.
Yeah, because I'm going to do a decode on that because, she's probably not watching this. I don't think she watches the show, but Alexandra, you're familiar with her. She's the one who told me as soon as she saw it. She sent me a picture of it, and I immediately started decoding that. I have decodes to put up and stuff. When I saw that, I said, I have to decode this. And boy, did it blow up.
It even references the moon.
What? Which
the whole moon landing, the commercial, right? The kid's like,
oh yeah, right, yeah.
Man on the moon, all that crap.
Yeah, but since you're mentioning that, I can actually segue into that somewhat from here.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't want to take you off of anything else.
Oh yeah, but I have a decode coming up, and we can talk about it next week. Drake and the 3 toes, this is the dragon foot, and I gave the Raptors, Toronto Raptors. There's a Toronto Raptors. That's a dragon, a raptor. It's a draconian symbol, and one of their logos is the 3 toes. The 3 toes also is a dragon reference, as well as a drake duck. So Drake is Draco, which has to do with astrology. There's the constellation of Draco, which is right next to Cygnus, the swan, and the swan is part of the same family as the duck. The swan also has the three toes, like little Drake May here. And so this is how it ties into what you were talking about her name is Hollins, Mac Hollins. He's a wide receiver for the New England Patriots. So Drake May, the adult grown-up Drake May, throws to Mac Hollins, and Mac Hollins showed up. In fact, I actually have a video of it. Since we'll segue, I don't mind segueing it. I do have this as part of my video, just at the end, just to show people. Since we're talking about it, I'll talk more about it. I'll do decode on it. It should be, let me see. Here. familiarize.
Patriots receiver Mac Hollins had all the Super Bowl 2026 headlines, arriving at Levi's Stadium in a prison jumpsuit with restraints and mask, range 13 stamped, nodding to ADX Florence's Supermax mystique.
Yeah, so that's a quick idea about what we're talking about as far as the New England Patriots wide receiver Mac Hollins, isn't it? Again, showing up at the Super Bowl in a prison outfit in shackles. But so one thing he's holding a football jersey while he's in shackles in the Hannibal Lecter mask. He's holding a football jersey. That jersey says Warriors. So remember, I shared that with you, AJ.
Yep.
That jersey is his head coach, Mike Vrabel's high school jersey. They were known as the Warriors. Now, so this is a big thing. So we're talking about movies got to decode. Well, this is what we've got to decode, AJ. If you're interested, whoever wants to decode it, is this movie here. It's from 1979. It was released in 1979. It's called The Warriors. Why this is so significant? It's plenty we want to decode, but this one is significant. I did watch it. Is because the New England Patriots, Mike Vrabel specifically, whose high school team was named the Warriors, used this movie to motivate the New England Patriots this season. So the whole New England Patriots watched this movie this year. So that's why it's a movie to watch. And it's called The Warriors, which is Mike Vrabel's high school team name. It's a Jesuit high school in Ohio, somewhere in Ohio. It's actually called as Jesuit. Is on the title of the high school. But the name of the high school is The Warriors. And this movie is The Warriors. So they wait till the Super Bowl in 2026, Super Bowl 60, to, I guess, make a really big. And so also Mac Hollins, he also wore the jersey. So he came in the prison, shackles to the game, holding the jersey in front of him. But then during warm-ups, he wore the jersey, which when I do my decode, I'll show that. But this is the movie. The New England Patriots watch this movie, but there's esoteric symbolism here. I don't think that Mike Vrabel on his own decided to show the team this. And so,
Rambo, hey, quick question. You were saying about Ohio, like the movie takes place in Ohio? Is that what you were saying?
No, that's where Mike Vrabel went to high school.
Oh, okay. The only reason that caught that raised my ears is because let's not forget about LeBron James winning Cleveland their only championship in San Francisco against the Warriors, and he came out wearing that Ultimate Warrior shirt.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
that ties in. That ties in with KODI and all of his wrestling expertise. KODI, you remember that, right? If you're talking, you're on mute, brother. But yeah, I just thought about that. The Ultimate Warrior.
Oh,
yeah. Ohio
Yeah,
and the Warriors is all I'm chiming in here with.
Yeah. So, yes. Yeah. This movie, they say, is what, and I think Vrabel was told to do. It's all planned. It works too well. It just happens to have the name of his high school team, it's a Jesuit high school. It's in the title. So the reason, I don't know when he started showing this to the team, at the beginning of the season or midway or when. The Warriors, 1979, it's a cult classic. It was actually banned it was considered it was too violent, just gratuitously violent, so it was banned from movie theaters, especially in New York City, because it takes place in New York City. When they first started airing it, fights were breaking out in movie theaters. This is back in 1979. So it became banned. And when they banned it, that actually made it more popular because it made it seem more like, people felt rebellious just by watching it, I guess on VHS back then. So The Warriors is about New York City being overrun by gangs. And the Warriors is one particular gang who's the star of the film, who live in, their turf is Coney Island in Brooklyn, New York, which is to the southeast of New York City. and they're stuck in the Bronx. The Bronx is in the north of New York City, and they have to get back home to Coney Island, but they have to get through because New York City is overrun by gangs. They have to run the gauntlet of gangs, all trying to knock them off to get back to Coney Island. And so the New England Patriots, I believe, they went undefeated on the road this season. They were the road warriors. And what they're saying is that this movie motivated the New England Patriots to go out on the road and go undefeated on the road, because that's the theme of the movie, The Warriors. It's a gang stuck on the other side of New York City, have to get through a whole gauntlet of gangs to get back home. So I mean, there's so much symbolism, like Coney Island is symbolic, but it's called The Warriors.
Rambo, really quick. I'm sorry, brother.
No, go ahead.
Amazing contribution by MVP here. Did you know that conies are hot dogs? I just Googled it. Did you know that a coney is a hot dog?
Well, so this is the thing. So remember when I did my thing about the sandwich thrower in DC? This is still relevant. And I talked about the hot dog, how it's related to the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Coney Island is known for hot dogs. That's why it is known for hot dogs.
Okay.
Every 4th of July, and who's the hot dog? Sirius is the hot dog. On the 4th of July, it was intentionally chosen as Independence Day between the British forces, Britain and United States, and who's really in charge? It's the secret society who are really in charge, who tell them what to do, who tell them the significance of Sirius. And on July 4th, why is that significant to the star Sirius? Because on July 4th, you have a Sun-Sirius conjunction. It means you have Earth, the Sun, and Sirius in a straight line. It's called a Sun-Sirius conjunction, in a perfectly straight line. I mean, now it's like July 5th, but still, they chose that date specifically because of the alignment with Sirius, July 4th. And Sirius is the dog star. Every July 4th on Coney Island in Brooklyn, you have the hot dog eating contest. Because Coney Island was already known for hot dogs. You have the hot dog eating contest every 4th of July on Coney Island. And the hot dog, which I'll be talking about, the whole reason I got started, I would never even have made my prediction of who will score the touchdown or 42 points had it not been for Ricky Stahl showing me the Bill Gates, because Bill Gates had 38 in the Elizabethan, the Rosicrucian ciphers. Well, Bill Gates is 38 and 83. And again, had it not been for Ricky, I didn't know about the Bill Gates thing at Times Square. That's how I got onto all of this. So I thanks to her and thanks to all the contributors, great commenters, which helped connect us. I never would have gotten onto any of this had it not been for Ricky showing Bill Gates eating the hot dog. That's a direct line to Coney Island, where you have the hot dog eating contest every 4th of July. 4th of July related to Sirius. And so Coney Island here is home. It's home for the stars of the show. It's ironic that a team from Boston in sports is like a bitter rival of New York City. So it's ironic that a Boston team would use a New York romantic epic, and it's an allegory to motivate them. That's ironic. But this is the movie they say that motivated Drake May and the Patriots. And this goes back to the picture of Drake May and Stephen Curry, because who does Stephen Curry play for? The Warriors. He played for the Golden State Warriors. So
and his daddy was best known for playing for the Raptors. Right.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
And the Warriors lost to who? The Raptors in 2019 with Kawhi Leonard and all that. So
yeah, those are great connections. And there's your Raptor symbol over there. So he would grow up to be motivated by the movie The Warriors. After being with the Warrior, being pictured with the Warrior, he'd grow up to be motivated by the movie The Warriors, supposedly, would lead them to the Super Bowl because they were road warriors. They went undefeated on the road this season. So, and so I got that from Mac Hollins, is his name, when he showed up at the stadium holding the Warriors jersey. That's Mike Vrabel's high school team. And there's so much attached to that. So one thing about it's along the lines of the duckfoot and dragons and drakes have the same three-toed symbol. I'll just wrap it up here. Cygnus the Swan I've talked about. This is a constellation in the northern sky. Hopefully you can see this clear. This is Cygnus. Cygnus is the swan. The swan has the same three-toed foot. But what constellation is right next to Cygnus? It's Draco, the dragon. So the dragon with and you can here see the three toes here. So the Draco constellation right next to Cygnus, which is the swan, and they both have the three toes. Now, why is the swan, Cygnus the swan, relevant to this movie, The Warriors? The star character, this is the star of the show, is this character named Swan, and he's the leader of the Warriors gang. The Warriors are led by Swan, and that's a reference to this. There's so much esoteric symbolism. It looks on the surface to be a gratuitously violent movie, but Ronald Reagan came out and he really gave it the biggest seal of approval, which kind of re-cemented it as a cult classic. When Ronald Reagan said, no, there's a lot more symbolism to this movie, and he feels it's a great movie if you understand them. You can see past just, it's not gratuitous violence. Ronald Reagan pretty much acknowledged and told people there's a lot more, there's a deeper allegorical story to this movie. It's the one that is said to have motivated the New England Patriots in 2025, 26.
Rambo.
Yep.
I had to throw this into the chat. Just the letter W, Warriors. Isn't that a three-toed web foot? Isn't the W itself the three-toed web? Like
that is, yes, that is absolutely a great observation, because, and I don't know if it's in this screenshot. You can't see it in the screenshot, but since you brought that up, I think so lower, maybe on the lower end of this. So I need to get a screenshot of a wider view. Oh, here it is. Oh, here it is, right here. I don't know if you can see this. This is the constellation called Cassiopeia. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it here?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? What is it shaped like? A W. Cassiopeia is a W. That's a W right here. Cassiopeia is a W-shaped constellation, or an M, but a W is Cassiopeia, and they're all together. So you know why the leader of the Warriors is named Swan. It's all about it's astrology, astronomy. So yeah, it's a great observation. In fact, one of the scenes, one of the members of the Warriors, he's a graffiti artist, and you know how gangs are supposed to tag things, and he's told just before they leave a place, the Swan tells him to tag the place they just left, and then he shakes a spray paint can and sprays a W. There's a lot to decode. There's a lot to decode for me anyway, and so yeah, great observation about the W. That's Cassiopeia, the W Cassiopeia, and I think that's actually one of the meanings of the three. There's a three-toed, three-hand symbol. Some people say Adolf Hitler is been pictured with it. Christopher Columbus has been. Many others have been pictured doing the three. It's like where the middle two fingers are together, and then the flanking fingers are spread apart. The pinky and index finger are spread apart, so it's actually a W. It could refer to Cassiopeia. It's called the triad claw. Somebody in the chat, I don't remember all the names. Somebody in the chat, I would like to shout them out. I just don't remember who it was who pointed out the name of that hand symbol. It's called the triad claw, and you'll see a lot of people do that. But yeah, so great observation. So yeah, Cassiopeia is right here, the W. And Swan, he's the leader of the Warriors. So yeah, this is relevant to the New England Patriots. And
I want to shout out Maggie too. Adam Sandler. Like, man, I feel like we can't get away from Adam Sandler. Did you ever see the movie Billy Madison?
I didn't know.
Yeah, no, there's just a really, like, one of the iconic scenes in that movie. He's sitting in a bathtub and he's like playing with his shampoo bottle and his conditioner bottle, and he's like, shampoo is better, conditioner is better, blah blah blah. But like the faucet of the tub is a swan, so he like does this whole like stupid thing, like and then it drops in the water, and then he just looks at the swan and goes, "Stop looking at me, swan."
No, yeah,
So,
something like that. Yeah, there's significance to that. There's a deeper esoteric meaning to that.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
I just want to throw that out there. I'll find the clip and I'll just send it to you. I think you're going to be like, whoa, wait a minute. There's probably more to it than that for sure. Yeah, shampoo is better. Conditioner is better. Oh, yeah, no, great stuff, Rambo. Was there anything else with this presentation that you wanted to add into it?
Now I've done so much here, and oh, actually, I can do one real quick from something from the skulls.
Yeah.
It has to do with Lucifer. I don't know if hopefully you can see this. So, Francis Bacon, I don't think this is a gematria thing, but not Francis Bacon, Manly P. Hall. Manly P. Hall, he revealed that the number of Lucifer is 741. Now, remember I talked about how the Sir Francis Drake's ship, the Revenge, it weighed 471 tons, which is considered light. And Sir Francis Drake and the New England Patriots went into the Super Bowl with an all-time record, regular season and playoffs, with 471 losses, which is an anagram of the number of Lucifer. And the number of Lucifer is 741. Well, this is an anagram, which confirms that this is about Lucifer, why they had the duck Dawn, because the dawn is a Lucifer reference. Lucifer is son of the morning star, or some say son of the dawn, but Lucifer is related to the dawn, which is why that duck was there, named Dawn, which is why when they find out the duck is a male, they don't change the name, just make it D-O-N. No, because D-O-N, you lose the Lucifer reference. That's the reason that duck is named Dawn. It's a male duck, it's a drake, and it's named Dawn, which is a reference to Lucifer. So Manly P. Hall revealed the number of Lucifer, and it's not based on any, unless it's some super exotic gematria cipher, which there are very many gematria ciphers, especially in Hebrew. Maybe it is. There are very many ciphers out there, but he is 741. So it's an anagram of 741, and this was actually the weight of Sir Francis Drake's ship was 741 tons. But so Manly P. Hall. It says Lucifer represented by the number 741. This was in The Secret Teachings of All Ages, where he revealed that 741. This is a really great. I haven't looked up who did this painting. There are very many illustrations of Lucifer. This one I think is quite brilliant. Just this expression, because I've seen this exact expression. This artist captured this expression, and I've seen people with this exact expression. The artist who did this knew exactly what they were doing. It wasn't just any artist. It's quite brilliant. So it represents the ego. It's the ego that separated Lucifer from the higher dimensions. It's ego. Ego only exists in the lower dimensions. Ego cannot exist in the higher dimensions. And that's what separated Lucifer and sent him to the only realm where ego can prevail, which is the lower dimensions, this and the realm of demons. That is where ego can exist. It cannot exist in the higher. He captured this perfectly because I've seen it, and it represents ego. So Luke McNamara was the star character in The Skulls, which you talked about, and Luke is a short form of Lucifer for males. For females, is Lucy. Luke is a Lucifer reference in The Skulls. And remember, in The Skulls, once they join, which is Skull and Bones, the secret society, once they've joined, they've passed the initiation, they give them all cars. That's a big thing. I mean, the elite worship cars. They worship cars. Everything's about cars. I mean, that's whole nother topic. The cars, the chariot is their thing, which is also a reference to the sun. The charioteer is Helios, the sun god of ancient Greece, who's associated with the chariot. Other gods are associated with the chariot, but Helios, especially the sun god. The chariot is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the vehicle that carries the sun across the sky and carries it through its cycle. But Luke is Lucifer, short form of Lucifer in The Skulls. They gave them all cars when they first joined. And this might not be visible, but when I saw this, and I'm glad you told me to see this movie, I did not. This one did not skip by me. I saw it immediately. It's very. I don't know if you can see it, but the license plate 741 is the first three numbers on this on Luke McNamara's car. That's the number of Lucifer. 741 for Luke, for somebody named Luke.
Well, was that for sure McNamara's car? Because I know that Paul Walker's character, Caleb Mandrake, got like a red sports car too. But from what I remember, it didn't have that kind of white top.
No, but this is Luke McNamara's car. So remember when Luke McNamara, he wanted to bring his friends who he had his friends who were working class. You know, he's
Yes.
also working class. That's where he came from. Then he had to really work hard to make it to an elite college, which is Yale University. And he had to kind of make amends with his friends who were working class to kind of help him. And one of the things he did was he offered them the keys to this car. Remember that part?
I do. Yep.
So they're up they live in a loft, and they looked outside the loft, and he pointed to this car, and he threw the keys at him and said, "This car is yours. If you, this is the one." And it's Luke.
You know what's
So-
crazy? This
740.
color. These are the same colors as Indiana University, going back to Fernando Mendoza talking on Pat McAfee's show about him being a 2-star recruit out of Yale University, wanting to be a member of Skull and Bones. So
Oh wow, yeah, that's amazing. That's
there you go.
life imitating art. And,
You
Kidding.
I just gotta say something. This whole stream, I've been the whole thing. It's all connected to Star Wars. Everything you guys are talking about. Luke, you're talking about Luke right now. Lucas, you're talking about those things. The dark side, the lightsaber. You won't believe what lightsaber, Darth Vader, and Seahawks equals. It's a perfect match, folks. Like this whole thing is tied to the Star Wars stuff, and like in the background, I've been like putting these pieces together. It looks like I'm gonna have to do a Star Wars stream at some point this week because I can't even remember everything I've thought about while you guys have been talking. But like just now, I was thinking about something else, and then you guys mentioned Luke, and then I was like, wait, Luke Skywalker, the son of the guy who turns to the dark side. And wait till you see how perfect it is from the movie where where Anakin turns to the dark side to the Revenge of the Sith is the name of the movie, guys.
Yeah,
The movie where Darth Vader turns to the dark side is called Revenge of the Sith. And if you measure using this new calculator that I've been given, if you measure, you find that it's perfectly aligned because the gematria of the dark side equals perfectly to the amount of days between the movie and the amount of duration between the movie and the revenge from the dark side. The Seahawks winning is what I mean. So
Can you
But
show
yeah,
that really
just-
quick, Cody? The connections with Darth Vader and Star Wars.
well,
and-
first of all, look at how Seahawks equals A New Hope. The number 87 is so big here. Seahawks 87. The first Star Wars movie is called A New Hope, 87. It also equals Seahawks also equals 129, like A New Hope. But look, Revenge of the Sith. If you type The Revenge of the Sith, it equals 87. Revenge of the Sith, 87. Mark Richard Hamill. He plays Luke Skywalker. Well, he equals 87, but Sam Richard Darnold. Got the same middle name as Sam Darnold. Hold on a second. The big one is this. This is the big one. Look at the gematria of lightsaber. Darth Vader, Lumen Field. I mean, this is clearly one of the big riddles that a lot of people missed, or not necessarily we missed, but just didn't talk about. Like, I mean, what's the odds, guys? First of all, what's the odds that lightsaber is a 4 out of 4 cipher match to Darth Vader? I mean, that's that's up there with like witch and broom equaling each other. But actually, that's kind of funny. A witch, her tool is a broom, and Darth Vader's tool is a lightsaber, and they both equal in all ciphers. They equal each other. But look at Lumen Field, where the dark side plays, equals Darth Vader and lightsaber. And the big number here is 169, because all these things equal 169. Lumen Field, Darth Vader, Seahawks, Seattle Seahawks, lightsaber. These other things could connect to that. Look, Star Wars equals 61, like year of the goat. So we're coming up on Super Bowl 61 in the year of the goat, which equals 61, and Star Wars equals 61.
Oh man.
So it seems like next year is going to be also Star Wars theme. But that's just gematria. And another thing I was connecting earlier this week was the connection between the Trump family and all these Anns. You know, you see how lower Queen Anne equals 169? Well, the Space Needle is located in lower Queen Anne. That's where it's located, the Space Needle in Seattle. Think about it, space, Star Wars, space. So the Space Needle in Seattle. But this Anne thing is also interesting because we're talking about Anakin. Anakin is the guy who turns to the dark side. And I did a decode about how let me just pull it up real fast.
There's also the Mars thing too, Cody. The Mariners.
Yeah, and Mars Inc. is located near Seattle also. I talked about that in my decode. But hold on a second. So there was this whole thing this week with this mother disappearing. And my whole thing this week was about the mother of Trump, Mother Mary. Now, the mother of Mary in the Bible is Anne. And Anne just disappeared. Nancy, this woman who's been abducted, Nancy is a form of Anne. So this Anne keeps coming up. And once I found out that Seattle Space Needle was located in Queen Anne, lower Queen Anne, I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, and just to verify that this Mother Mary thing is clearly going on right now, Anne Hathaway is playing Mother Mary in the movie Mother Mary this year. And this all started as Trump turned 985 moons. And all this stuff connects to the moon, the dark side of the moon, as Rambo mentioned. But as Trump just turned 985 lunar phases, which is the gematria of Jesus, this is when this woman was abducted. And again, her name means Nancy, means Anne, but Trump's mom's name was Mary Ann. And it's all connects to the Scottish theme because Mary Ann McLeod is from Scotland. The last name Guthrie is Scottish. Guthrie equals 88, like Trump, like Scotland. And this was the big one. So Mary Ann Trump came to the United States in 1942, the year Nancy Guthrie was born. The name Guthrie is Scottish for windy place. And Trump's mother, Anne, comes from a place where it's known for its winds. Like, that's wild. Trump's mom, this is going to be a theme for me from now on. Trump's mom is so important to all this. Like, we need to start decoding Trump's family in general, but his mom, everything that's going on right now is connected to his mom.
Can I say something about the name Guthrie? Right now in the news, a famous news anchor, Savannah Guthrie, her mother is said to have been kidnapped. You know that story? Yeah.
Well, that's this story.
Oh, that's part of this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nancy Guthrie, her last name means windy place, and Trump's mom, Anne, comes from a windy place. The island that she was born on is known for they want to put wind farms there because it's so windy. And again, Nancy is a form of Anne, which is, again, the middle name of Trump's mother. Both of them are Scottish. Guthrie's Scottish, and of course, Mary Ann McLeod is Scottish. And they're both mothers, right? They're both mothers.
So,
and
can I say real quick? Sorry to interrupt. Really quick. So Nancy's interesting. You wouldn't think a male would have the name Nancy. So in Scotland, it's Scottish football. So it's the most popular sport in the world. And in Scotland, their biggest team is Celtic of Glasgow. They just had a controversial head manager hiring. His name was Nancy. Now, the reason it's controversial is because he came from the American MLS. And to go from the MLS to the Scottish Premier League is a big step. And the fans, it looked like a disaster from day one. Hire a manager for Scotland, the most decorated team in the history of Scotland. You have to hire someone with credentials. Instead, they got this obscure guy from the MLS. The only thing he ever won is in the MLS American Soccer League, and his name was Nancy. And his reign was a disaster. He was gone pretty quickly, but his name was Nancy, and so he ties into. You can just look up Nancy Scott, Celtic manager, if you want to get some idea. But that's how it ties into Scotland. The name Nancy and in soccer, football.
Let me look. Hold on. Nancy, Scotland.
Now put Celtic manager. Just put that. Yeah, just put that. Wilfred
Nancy. Huh. Oh, okay. This guy's born in 1977. This is a theme. Star Wars came out in 1977. Elvis died in Elvis, I already mentioned how the Super Bowl is all connected to Elvis, and that never ended. But yeah, Star Wars came out in 1977. So this guy even has that 1977 birth year. Yeah, Wilfred Nancy.
So he had managed the Columbus Crew of the Major League Soccer, which yeah. So if you're a fan of Celtic Football Club, like this is the biggest club. They're two big clubs, Celtic and Rangers. It's like a Catholic Protestant team, very big. When you're a fan of Celtic, it is a head scratcher. Like this is Celtic Football Club. You hire people with credentials. You hire not somebody from the MLS. Like all due respect to the MLS, it's not. It's just not at the caliber of us. So I think he was hired for some kind of ritual reason. I mean, they knew he wasn't going to last, most likely.
What? I was just talking about 173. Celtic Football Club 173.
Celtic, they pronounce it Celtic.
It's also got that 106, just like how we just concluded the 106 NFL season.
Yeah, this Scottish theme is, I mean, me personally, I should cover it more because of my Scottish connection. And I think I'm going to have to start covering it more. I mean, looking more into the Scottish clans. I don't see anyone doing that. No one's decoding the Scottish clans, like how this might tie in. And they're all kind of, because the interesting thing about it, remember when we found out about the Home Alone thing, the clan McAllister was associated with Clan Donald. And then Clan Donald was also associated with Clan McLeod. And then you have Donald Trump, whose mother's name is McLeod. So there's clearly and my clan, the Robertson clan, again, the captain of Scotland Football Club is Robertson. And this is going to be something I guess I'm going to have to cover later in the year once we get closer to the. But yeah, I just.
Can I say more about Andy Robertson?
Yeah.
So we were just talking about 26 and the album by J. Cole that was released on 2/6 and 26, and one of the songs is titled 2/6. Well, Andy Robertson, the captain of Scotland, he also plays for Liverpool Football Club, so he wears number 26. So Andy Robertson wears jersey number 26. But you look at the bottom, see his jersey number. They have it right at the bottom there.
Oh yeah.
26. So, but he has a teammate plays for Liverpool. He's from Argentina, named McAllister. He has a teammate named McAllister, who plays for Liverpool as well.
Alistair Crowley.
McAllister. Yeah.
Yeah, this does go back to the again, we've talked about the places where the MC is Ireland, Scotland. That's where you get all the MCs at. And of course, all these names have the MC connection. You just had McDonald win. You just had all these MCs, and most of these names have the MC in them. So that's the Moonchild, Alistair Crowley, all this stuff with the Moonchild.
Jack Parsons.
Yeah, that too.
The goalkeeper. Watch out for Providence Friars, a goalkeeper.
The dark side of the moon, the dark side in Star Wars, the lightsaber, like the sun has the light, reflects off the moon. There's the moon is a central riddle to all this, really. I guess if you boiled it down to like what the central riddle is to all of it, it seems to be the moon. or at least like the symbolism of the moon, of the eclipse, probably also. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's something interesting about Scotland. I'm kind of having a desire to go to my homeland and just like investigate there. I'm gonna be on the ground with my spyglass and finding these finding my clan. I could probably go to like the house of my clan, the Robertson clan, like, and get connected with people, you know. So it'd be interesting to learn more about that, because I feel obviously intimately connected with that culture and that just in general. So, and the fact that the captain of the Scottish team right now is Robertson is still blowing my mind. But I mean, it's not that amazing considering it's amazing to me just because that just happens to be my last name. But I know there's probably a lot of Robertsons in Scotland. So,
I
but
need
it's
to look
certainly not
into.
the most popular name in Scotland. I wouldn't say it would be the most popular name.
I feel like I need to do just a decode on Old MacDonald Had a Farm. We've talked a lot about how there's so many different animals that just keep popping up nowadays, and like farming, all that stuff. Go ahead, Rambo.
I'm going to say every nursery rhyme has an esoteric meaning. Every single one.
Right.
Of them. Yeah.
E-I-E-I-O.
Yeah. Some probably.
Like,
Yeah. That
E-I.
probably yeah.
Eye to eye, E-I. Boom. Right there. Like, all right, we're already on something. You know what I mean? Like, Old MacDonald Had a Farm, Christian McCaffrey, and all the stuff that you've done, Rambo, over the years with the Micmac and the burger. And then that whole school shooting that happened where the teacher was named Burger and then the principal was named Mac Burger or something. Like, I mean, it's it's been around for a while.
Yeah, and just how I just mentioned how the place where Trump's mom comes from, they want to create a wind farm there. and you know, King Charles' mother died in Scotland. Her last name is Windsor. So there's this connects to King Charles too. I mean, the fact that Queen Elizabeth, that connects to me too, with the Queen Elizabeth and my channel connection. You know, she died in Scotland. You know, where my family comes from, of course, and she died in Balmoral Castle. I know there's a lot of Scottish people in the. I know that there was a guy back before in my chat. He was always saying he was a Robertson, and he knew a bit more about the Robertson clan. I don't know if he still watches the channel, but if you're out there, hit me up. I don't know. I'd like to visit Scotland. I was there for a layover once, and then not that it's a very fun place to be a lot of times, I think, for people because it's always cloudy and rainy, but just the vibe of it I want to experience for sure.
Well,
but you know, with this
too is Scotland is home of the show The Traders, and I've told you guys about that show.
Yeah,
Michael Jordan's son in there, but it looks beautiful. But to your point, maybe the weather isn't typically that nice.
Yeah, that's the downside to it. But I think it's I think the weather. I mean, the air is probably fresh. I watched this. Yeah, the Highlander. Dr. Savage is talking about the Highlander. There's something with that as well, because you know the fact that this woman right now is still missing. Also, right after the mother from this whole thing's connected to Home Alone. The mother from Home Alone dies. You know, she's missing now. She's gone, and then the mother gets captured, and she was home alone. This mother, right? She lives alone at home. This Nancy Guthrie, and again, the middle name. This Anne is just following. You know. The middle name of Catherine O'Hara was Anne. That this was the clue. And then again, the daughters of this girl is not only Savannah, and Savannah has the name Anna right in it. It's not derived from the same origin really, but it does have Anna in it. But her other daughter's named Annie. So all three women, Nancy means Anne, Savannah has Anna in it, and then the mother, and then the other sister, her name is Annie. So, and then, like I said, the mother of Mary is Anne. And then Anne Hathaway is playing Mother Mary this year. And it was all connected to this eclipse code. This is the last thing I'll say, and then we'll, I guess, start wrapping it up, I guess, guys. where's the moon? So I did a decode about this, and then the next day I realized that I was missing the whole point with the mother being missing, this Nancy Guthrie. But I'll just show you how important the eclipses are, and this new tool that we have here too has really been helping me with that. But so Trump's birthday was the first eclipse in Saros 136. Okay. His birthday in the year 1360, right? So 136, Trump's birthday, and it was the first eclipse of Saros 136. So this is the eclipse this eclipse Saros 136. I think there's 71 total eclipses in this Saros, starting in 1360, going to the year, I don't even know when the last year is the end, but so this eclipse on Trump's birthday also had an eclipse in Saros 136 on Trump's mother's death anniversary. So on the same day she died, August 7th, there was also an eclipse in the 136 Saros on that day, August 7th. Of course, not the same year, but also fell on that day. And then the Super Bowl, this might be a reason for the dark side of the moon, eclipse. February 8th was also a 136 eclipse date. And we had, last week I mentioned all the Marys. I mentioned Mary Steenburgen. I mentioned the death of the mother Mary of King James. And yeah, so February 8th, 1739 was an eclipse from 136 Saros. And this is important because in Gematria, Mother Mary, 136, Virgin Mary, 136, the Jesuits, 136. The Jesuits were founded 3 days after an eclipse from Saros 136. This is their eclipse as well, because again, they were founded on September 27th, 1540. The Saros 136 eclipse happened 3 days later. Might also be a reason why the guy with the Jesuit order's birthday died right before this. Actually, it probably is all connected to that. And but this is so important, like these eclipses and when they're falling on these dates, because they're not going to fall on every date of the year. So they're falling on all 3 dates: Trump's birthday, his mom's death date, and the Super Bowl all had that same connection.
Didn't Trump's former wife fall down the stairs to her death?
Yeah, Ivana Trump, yes. They said she was found at the foot of a spiral staircase.
Wait, Ivana, doesn't that have the name Anna in it as well?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Like,
well,
if it's
Eve, Anna, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is, all a derivative. Oh, it is the same, is it? Does it come from Anna?
I think it's a female version of Ivan. English-speaking people would say Ivan.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's still an Anna connection still.
I just want to look because this might be.
I just brought up the fall thing because of everything that Rambo's been touching on.
Yeah, that's another fall. Yeah.
Interesting. Ivana is actually a form of John. Wow. Interesting. I don't know, but that's these name things again. I proved this last year with the Charles stuff. I think you could just be a name decoder. You don't even need numbers. You could just be all the events that connect on how the names derive. Like you could just decode the names.
Yeah,
the wordplay, right? It's that wordplay.
But the name Drake, how much you get out of just the name Drake alone? You write a book just on Drake, just what's happened in this year and the movies that Drake alone. Yeah, it's just.
Don't tempt me, Rambo. Don't tempt me. I might do that. I might do that. No,
but yeah, the point was, my point was just, the importance of the 136 eclipse and something that. Oh, and I forgot the most important part. The reason they selected J.D. Vance. Because guess when the next Saros 136 eclipse falls? falls on JD Vance's birthday in 2027. So this is a huge date to watch. Absolute huge date to watch. Because again, Trump, his birthday is the first eclipse in that Saros. And they chose JD Vance as the vice president. I believe one of the main reasons was because JD Vance's birthday will be on that same eclipse Saros in 2027. It will be a total solar eclipse, and it will be going over Egypt. So 2020 October or August 2nd, 2027, huge date, huge time period to watch. And I know we're far out from it, but and I could go into how XRP is coded into this, because Ripple Labs Inc. equals 136. And you won't believe how many days it was from the, I won't get into it, but they're clearly coding the Ripple XRP and the Stellar Lumens. I just told you the Seahawks play in Lumen Field. The other cryptocurrency that goes with Ripple XRP, the brother or the sister of that currency, is Stellar Lumens. If you type in Stellar XLM, it equals 136 in the same cipher. And again, I could show how this eclipse, 136 eclipse, is like one of the most important parts that a lot of us are missing. And I was missing this until, and thanks to Derek for all his research on this, because he pioneered this research. But I'm going to start to really make this a part of mine too, especially with what just happened.
Well, yeah, Codes. I mean, I don't mean to cut you short. I mean, if there's more you want to keep presenting, please do. But, I know it's super late,
I think it's
super
a good
early.
time to start wrapping it up.
Yeah. So I guess for me, really quick, I'll take the screen back just so we can remind any new viewers of where people can find and support you. And we do have MVP who would like to jump in kind of in closing here. So we'll bring him in a second. But, before we do that, I just wanted to make sure, Cody, that you had your moment to, kind of close things out for us and just remind people where they can find you and support you.
Yeah. So again, thanks for everyone for listening to me and all of us. And thank you to Rambo and you, AJ, once again for being here. And it was a good show, and I appreciate everything that you guys share and everything that everyone in the chat shared at the same time. If you guys want to find me, again, a lot of you are watching on my channel on YouTube, Decoding with Cody. And then, of course, as usual, the buymeacoffeelink.com/decoding with Cody. And yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone in the chat, for the love. Appreciate you all.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Codes. Feel free to hang out, but no love lost, man. I know it's late. I know it's early. Really appreciate you as always.
Yeah, I'll try. I'm probably gonna stay on for if we go 20 minutes more. I'll stay on for about 20 more minutes. Otherwise, I'll probably drop out because it's getting really early or late here, whatever you want to say. But
yeah, we'll keep it brief. I just want to welcome MVP to the chat. He was asking to jump in here. Hey, MVP, can you hear us okay? I see that you're muted. Nice beard, by the way. That's impressive.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
See that you're muted.
I just
yes.
unmuted.
If you can,
that's impressive. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
See that you're muted. I'm hearing a reverb, MVP. So if you can mute the live stream.
Here, let me mute this, and then I think if I unmute my screen, I can hear what you're saying.
It's much better. It's much better now. But okay. Maggie says hello. Rosie says hello, MVP. Peace.
Hey, everybody.
Yep. Appreciate you jumping in, man. We don't want to stretch this out for too long, but, you've had some great observations, and I know you were asking to kind of jump into the conversation tonight. So welcome to the panel, and appreciate, having you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I just wanted to share just a quick thing I made on my Patreon, which is just really mostly what I do is about sports market money line odds, data analysis. I look for value picks. I do that kind of stuff. I've been restricted by the soft books in my state for winning too much. So what I do is just share data analysis. But I did a fun thing during the Super Bowl halftime show, because I pay attention to you guys, and I've been paying attention to this sort of thing for years now. I kind of just see some stuff. So I made this post. You see the keyboard here. That's a Casio keyboard. And the reason why there's a picture of a Casio keyboard is because of the names of Bad Bunny. His real name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio. And I'll just read this. He just did his halftime performance at Super Bowl 60. And this was following a commercial of a little kid whose bedroom mirror is a huge smartphone screen. And so I just raised a couple of stepkids, and one of the biggest problems that we had was them being able to sort of skirt parental supervisions with their cell phones. So it was a point of contention between me and their mom to discipline them and take the phones away so that we could maintain control. Yeah, Keith, he's got it. He's already knows where I'm going with this. So basically, I saw the kid's cell phone screen mirror, and it was sort of offensive to me. I was like, oh, look at that symbolic, huge glorification and tribute of the smartphones, which is going to be the key to everyone accessing anything in the economy here coming up soon when they bring out the digital currencies and programmable money like they have in China. So you can't, in my city, you can't park your car next to a parking meter anymore unless you get the app. So you have to pay via the app. And if you insist on using coins or cash, you have to go to the parking deck to do that. So cars can no longer park on the street unless they have this app, and all that's connected to the cell phone. So that was the first thing I noticed. And then they were flashing on the screen all these Marvel superheroes and stuff. And among them was Frank the Rabbit from the Donnie Darko movie. So there's that. I just put the picture there. And, you know, when the players score a touchdown in the football games, they'll say they took it to the house, right? So I see Bad Bunny here, and he's in the house. So I put Ocasio in the house. If you look closely, all of his clothes that he's wearing are off-white. They're like a cream color, so they're off-white. They're not white, they're off-white. And then this jersey that he has on, I could barely see it because it's white on off-white. So the contrast is not very high. And I read it. It's Ocasio, and the number is 64. Okay? So immediately I thought, well, this is Super Bowl 60. So 64 will be in the year 2030, and that'll be in the next presidential administration. So there he is climbing Ocasio 64. MSN News article said Bad Bunny's uncle previously played football, wore number 64 on his jersey, and the performer, whose real name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, shares the name with his uncle. The rapper also paid tribute to his late relative by carrying a football that read, "Together We Are America." He passed off the flag and shouted, "God bless America," before reciting the names of Latin American countries that many immigrants in the U.S. hail from, adding the U.S. and Canada and his motherland, Puerto Rico. So this is pertinent to ICE and immigration. And he canceled his last tour due to ICE. He didn't want his fans to be collected and deported or put in camps because they came out to his shows. So he canceled all of his shows. Then the next thing you hear is that he's in the Super Bowl as the halftime performer, which I thought was really interesting. ICE being white in color. You know, snow, ice, it's white. So I can think of another Ocasio who works in the house. And there she is. And I picked that picture. You know, I'm just being funny. That's the O face, right? Ocasio, O face. So we'll just skip that. And then there we go. Super Bowl 64, the jersey number, will be played in 2030. 2030 will be during the next presidential administration. The next election is in 2028, and this is very clear foreshadowing related to Ocasio in the White House. So there I picked her laughing with bright white teeth and wearing her white, I guess you'd call that a sport coat there. All right, so come down here. I looked on Kalshi because that's what I do. I'm a trader. I looked on Kalshi to check the price on the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to be the Democratic VP nominee in 2028. They had that at 11 cents per share or an 11-cent chance. That was the second most likely. I forget who was ahead of her. And the spread was a 2-cent spread. And what that means is there's not a lot of room between what the bids are and what the asks are. So if you look, you see that before I went in and placed $2 worth of bids for 10 cents, I didn't want to spend on 11 cents. I spent one share on 11 cents just to get the market makers' attention so that perhaps they would then buy the bids that I had at 10 cents. But the gap, the spread there is between 9 and 11, right? So there's your 9/11. That's been tied to a lot of this stuff for years, since 2001. And that's really all I got. And I just said, now fill my order, please. Thanks for reading, blah, blah, blah. And then later I got on and I shared a picture of this dude because my dad was like, hey, look at this guy. Like, he doesn't look very healthy. And I'm like, yeah, it looks like he's a smuggler, right? It looks like he's like hiding something in his shirt there. So I said, because I'm into the Bloodhound Gang, the band, there's a song called Mope. And this link here goes to Mope. So if you guys want to listen to that song, it's a good song. It's pretty funny. There's a part in the song where he says, he's mighty tighty whitey and he's smuggling plums. So I just thought that it was coincidentally fun that mighty tighty whitey in a part of this whole off-white with the font being white. And I'm talking about the White House. And then I've been chiming in about the synchronicity in my life, listening to you guys and all the stuff that's going on with the mustard and being from Pittsburgh and everything. Today, my friend calls me and he's like, hey, I'm in your neighborhood. I'm painting inside this house. Could you come help me paint? So I'm like, sure. So I go over there. Sure enough, he's doing all the white trim and he's got me painting eggshell white, off-white, next to the white trim. And I just think that that's just amazing. That happened today, and now I happen to be online with you guys sharing all this stuff. It's just wild. So
eggshell white, like Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, there you go. So coming down here, the end of the song is Homer Simpson's sample saying "Holy Macaroni" over and over again. So of course I shared Holy Macaroni with a picture of Kraft macaroni and cheese, picture of Robert Kraft there, looking all stunned, and they had a picture of him on NBC there. He was caught yawning as he watched the Patriots get blown out in the Super Bowl. So that's it. I just wanted to share that post that I put on my Patreon. Of course, my Patreon is nothing like yours. It's not really geared around this stuff. This was a digression. It was a deviation from what I typically do, which is like just strictly how sports outcomes through the odds translate into profit and loss, just P&L on turnover. That's my whole thing.
Well, we appreciate that, MVP. That was an awesome presentation. Make sure to drop the link of your Patreon in the chat. I'll pin it on the screen. So if anybody's interested to, jump on to any of your work, more than happy to, get that out there. Sure. I love it, man. That was really good. We're closing in on that 3-hour mark. So, I don't have much else to add other than the eggshell connection with Humpty Dumpty and the egg and all that kind of stuff. And you know what? I'll tell you this offline, MVP, but I had a very strange dream the other night. I reached out to Rambo about it, and it had to do with painters in a house, and it was kind of creepy, and it had to do with white and kind of this off-white thing. So we'll talk about that offline. I don't want to make it about that, but it's crazy that you were just touching on that, so it kind of resonated with me.
Absolutely.
I thought about your dream when he gave that story.
Yeah, you saw that too. Okay, all right. Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Very cool.
Really cool.
I just
really
also
cool.
want to point out this thing I have on my ceiling here. That's yin yang. It's 2 fish, like Pisces, and we're leaving Pisces going into Aquarius, and around the outside of that is all just water. So this thing on my ceiling is water with 2 fish, Pisces, yin yang, light and dark.
Yeah. And I'm a Pisces.
Amazing. So, I'm a Gemini, by the way.
Further fitting. Yeah, so is Rambo.
A lot of Geminis. You can't leave out Cody.
Well, yeah. Well, duh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you can't leave out Derek. You can't leave out, I would say at least 80% of the decoders in the community are Gemini. So I'm
Bo-
not surprised.
Bobby Simpson.
Yeah, Bobby Simpson.
Oh wow, there's a lot of Gemini say. That's wow. There's something to it. I wonder where that is.
Gematria, Gemini,
There you
Gematria.
go.
Yeah, well, what we have in common if we're part of the mutable cross. The mutable cross is Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, Virgo. So
Cool. Well, the house I was at today, this was at Capricorn Drive or something like that. The street was called Capricorn, just so you know. And I believe that's the fishtail dude, right?
yeah, the goatfish.
The goat fish. Okay.
Dr. Savage is a Gemini. Cable X Dialex is a Gemini.
All the Geminis are.
I wish I could put out a poll and just see what everyone's signs are. That's crazy. Any Pisces in the house? Can I see one Pisces? Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. Yeah, no, MVP, great job, man.
Another thing too, Robert Kraft is a Gemini. He was born June 5th.
Of course he is.
So is Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
so is Sam Darnold.
And
hey, AJ, you're a fish out of water in a sea of Geminis.
Exactly. There you go. Yep. Oh, hey, you know what? Hey, I got Mr. S in my corner. All right, he's a Pisces. Okay. All right. Yeah. Gemini, Twin Cities, Minnesota, all that stuff. But yeah, no, let's land the plane here, pun intended. Once again, great work, MVP. Rambo, Cody, I mean, was there anything else that MVP touched on that you guys wanted to add to it? I mean, that was brilliant work, man. Great job.
No, it's brilliant work, and
Yeah,
I appreciate him being a patron, and for I used noticing my prediction. I didn't think anyone would have noticed, but he remembered my prediction about the
Oh man, I remember when you were talking about Dornoch, the horse, and it just blew my mind, and I was like, "What is he going on about?" But I went and I won some money off of what you said, dude.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Yeah. Like,
but
I don't just listen to you guys and sleep on it. Like, I go to the book and I fucking make bank on this shit.
Yeah, appreciate it. So I did encourage MVP to call in, but you can call. I mean, definitely, please call in again. If you call in earlier, you can be on longer. But I can see, I'm pretty sure the consensus among the hosts and also the audience is you do bring a lot to the table. We'd all like to hear more from you.
Cool. Well, then next time, if you want to do this more often, I can actually prepare sort of a presentation, kind of like you guys do. Maybe make a bunch of Google slides or something to scroll through.
Yeah, would always love to have you, MVP. It's always nice to get other people that will jump in and have a chat with us after what we share. And super stoked that you were able to capitalize on Sunday based off of some of the stuff that Rambo's been touching on. Once again, you guys, Rambo's stuff is only $5 a month. Okay. And it's all out there, but it's also on you as the observer to take in that information and make your own decisions, so. But yeah, no, I mean, so speaking of which, Rambo, if you wouldn't mind maybe just kind of saying some final thoughts and just a reminder, this is the link for everybody to find your work.
Absolutely. Thanks again for putting it all together. And thank you, MVP. Thank you, Cody, and the audience. It was a great show. Sometimes you can tell when the show goes so well, like you don't want to stop. We've gone 3 hours. We could go on for another 3 hours. But yeah, great show, everybody. This is where I can be found, patreon.com/thetruthcodes and instagram.com/thetruthcodes. And I have a full decode. I think it's 17 minutes or so. It's under 20 minutes of the intro that I showed earlier today with the Sir Francis Drake and Drake's Bay in San Francisco, and how it ties in with the English. It's an English versus Spanish theme, and I show it's beyond just what I showed there. So it's beyond just the Super Bowl and the Spanish language Super Bowl, and then they had the English language halftime show competing with the Spanish language halftime show run by Turning Point USA. So it's an English versus Spanish theme, which is I show how that ties into the England defeating the Spanish Armada under Sir Francis Drake and Elizabeth IV. There's a lot more connections there. It's under 20 minutes. I think if everybody will find it interesting. And that will be, I've finished that completely, and I will upload it tomorrow morning. And then you can see another thing I will be working on is what we touched on today a little bit, which is the New England Patriots player showing up at the Super Bowl in shackles and holding that jersey, Warriors, which is the jersey of his head coach when he's in high school. So those are the things I'm working on, and I still have more on the Minnesota. I haven't done that because so many things keep popping up on the ice activity in Minnesota. More on that, so that's what I'm working on. So thanks for hearing me out, and thanks for having me, and look forward to next
always week. Always a serious pleasure, Rambo. Seriously, man. Amazing stuff. I mean, I'm looking forward to that because, you know, you and I talked about that commercial with the little kid, and then he talks about, I'm the beast, I'm a monster, you know, man on the moon, all that kind of stuff. And Minnesota has its own dark side of the moon connections, you know, howling at the moon, the Minnesota Timberwolves, you know, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing that next video of yours, Rambo. Once again, you guys, $5 a month. I guarantee you guys are spending more than $5 a day on something that you don't need, and Rambo's content is absolutely next level. So please, please make sure that you guys at least give him a shot. Patreon.com/TheTruthCodes. You guys can also find him on Instagram at TheTruthCodes, spelled exactly as it is. In closing, my name's AJ Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. You guys can email me at any time at wordplaybook, 3 O's in book @gmail.com. I've written 11 books, and I think Rambo is maybe inspiring me to write my 12th about just Drake and the duck and the webfoot. Who knows? I mean, the Oregon Ducks were originally called the Webfoots, you know? So I don't think that's an accident. But anyways, you guys can follow me on these 2 social media channels, Instagram and YouTube. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Seriously, it's been a blast. To Rambo's point, I mean, when it goes this long and don't really want to wrap it up now, we can easily go another 3 hours. I mean, should we just make this a 24-hour stream, just nonstop, just keep talking? You guys are the best. Last shout out, seriously, to everybody in the chat. You guys have been a phenomenal addition to every stream, honestly. And it's so great to see everybody always tune in every Tuesday night, best night of the week. We love you all. Cody, get some sleep, brother. You guys have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you, everyone.
Peace out.
Yeah, take care.
Grim bloke. Yeah. And man. Yeah, bruv. Yeah. Yeah, bruv. In it. Grim bloke. Let me tell you about this one time. I went through a porthole and snuck into the North Pole and got picked up in a Hyperborean DeLorean. They said they knew I was a Webster Merriam historian, master the numerical Gregorian, the hysterical mystic, no more than a Pythagorean's conspiracy theory Ethereum in the etheric fear realm. I thought they were gonna take me to the crematorium in their Hyperborean DeLorean. Tested me on my Sumerian, Shakespearean, knew I was a numerical vegetarian Aquarian, that I knew about the Tartarians, barbarians, Mars radium, aliens. Salt of the earth, solution Selenian. Spent the night in a Hyperborean chamber. I looked around and thought, bruv, who hired the painter? Hyperborean memoriam, auditorium, all cause I got picked up in the Hyperborean DeLorean. Introducing